Danny, can you hear this music? Okay. Checking. Yes. Whoa, I think that was like way too long.
That was cool.
It was such a long intro.
Oh my God, it took forever.
Oh my God. I was looking, I was like, wait, I'm ready now. It still says there's a minute. I mean, I put it on the live stream. It's all over the place. It's on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Kick, and Melina's YouTube. That's a lot of places. So
That's a lot of places.
We'll go all the way countdown. Melina, what's up?
What's up? Last week I didn't do
ago?
video with you, and I feel like it's been a month, so it's been a
That's
while. I'm happy to be back. I'm excited to have this conversation. I mean, it's so funny because I feel like this past week we've been talking a lot about creators and content creators, and it seems to be like the hottest topic. And we've been doing these spaces. You know what, Chris? I don't even know what week we're at, but it feels like we've been doing this for a while.
a lot.
We come with all these different backgrounds, but one thing's for sure, I think we're at the stage where it's becoming acceptable to start talking about making money as a content creator. I think for a long time we felt eerie, asking people, hey, pay me, or send me flowers, right? And I had the privilege today of being on Schiller's new platform, and so we talked a lot about what they're going to do and how it's going to help amplify creators, which I think is really what's missing for a lot of these platforms. I don't know what you think, Chris. You've been in this game for so long. I mean, obviously you started with YouTube, but it's hard, to actually start seeing money. And I think a lot of people confuse the number of followers with the number of dollar bills, and that usually is never the case.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Like so many people have these self-imposed restrictions where they're like, as soon as I hit 1,000 followers, then I'm worthy of charging. As soon as I hit 10,000, as soon as I hit 100, as soon as I hit 1 million, like all these weird things that like they're not real, but people just put them up in place because they're like, I don't know, I feel like I'm not it. Like, who am I? So that whole imposter syndrome is a thing. Um, but yeah, you're so right. The fact that you weren't here last week on video, I was like, man, I feel like I've done this forever. But shout out to everybody watching on YouTube and everybody who joined the room. I see a room full of friends. You guys are awesome. This is what I want to do. We've got the YouTube link. It's the first one in the nest. And you can watch us live and have the audio and the video there. And then the other link is the scary one. The other link is the invite to be on the live stream in front of millions of viewers right now. I'm just kidding. Nobody's watching, but it would be cool if there were millions watching. I would be here for it. But you're all welcome. I want today to be a workshop, but I also want it to be a really good use. We're going to dive into some stuff that Melina has cooking, and it's going to just be an example of how you can make live stream videos, show up, be in a Twitter space, be on YouTube, be in all the places at once. But what you're really doing is you're recording your content that you need later, and you can get real-time feedback. So that's something that I kind of wish that I had when I was building my online courses with my first business, was like that real interaction of like asking a question, getting feedback, and literally like right there live, you could be making your content. So that is just one. Oh, good. Our guy Jags showed up. I love it.
Yeah.
Um, I do want to invite everybody. You are welcome to come up on the stage. You're welcome to come on the live stream and be part of this, because we're going to do just a bunch of workshopping. We're going to talk a lot about using live streaming for your business, which is like, let's face it. I just skipped out of a room with OG in there and like a bunch of the homies that content creators in the space. I love it, but they're talking about getting views on the internet. I'm talking about building a business. It's a
Yeah.
little bit of a different story. It's a different story. And we're going to focus on Melina's business a little bit in just a while, and then talk more about that. And like, I don't know. I
But
think I like,
you're so right, because I've been thinking about this a lot, right? And we've been saying content creator at this time, in this day and age. I think it's just become the sexiest wording, right? It's like what influencer is right now. Everyone is calling themselves an influencer or a content creator, or it's just like the buzzword. But the reality is this is a business, right? And I think for a lot of people, forget about the brands that we're trying to attract and trying to get deals with, who just think, well, your TikTok's only 30 seconds, so I'm only going to pay you for 30 seconds of work. Let's skip through all that. But this truly is a business. And I think I'm hoping at the very least that we're starting to hear that more, because I think for a long time this was considered a hobbyist type of work. This was like, okay, on the side, take a picture for me, get some free food. Like, and like I did a post the other day, like that's not how we get paid. Unfortunately, I'd love to just like, do content for you and get a free retweet, but like that just is not how I can pay my bills. And Chris and I are here on the live stream, we're laughing because it's happened a lot. So I'm hoping that we push this idea of a content creator simply just creating content, because there is a business aspect, to it. It's a business that, you as the face of your brand is a business, and it starts like that. And maybe eventually one day you'll sell a product, or you'll be the face of Prime, whatever it is. But you have to start by thinking that your face, everything you're posting online, is a business. When I worked in journalism, my bosses, media organizations, they gave us courses as to how we had to show up on social media. Because as a reporter, I couldn't just go online and be like, you know what, this president is full of crap. Like I couldn't do that, because I had an image to uphold. And so I want people to understand that whatever it is you're doing online, a bit like what our moms and dads would tell us, right? Be careful what you're putting out there because this becomes the face of your business.
Yep, and I actually just heard GT talking about that in OG Space a minute ago, and to that point too, what you'd said before that, even with TG, is that's somebody thread guy. Like this whole ape, the ApeCoin DAO and the council and all this stuff is like, there's certain things that a lot of typical organizations are going to say, you can't come up and say that. You can't have your own opinions that you're blasting out everywhere. But then when it comes to your own personal brand and kind of growing like the business around your face and your opinion and your voice, that's kind of the whole point, right? Is like you having a take. I've heard Leap say that a few times where he's like, I don't care if I agree with the person, good or bad. It's the fact that they have a take, that they
Mhm.
have something to say, and that's how content works a lot of times too. Is that like people really do? It matters that they actually have an opinion and that they have something to share or a skill or something like that. So hey, real quick, I want to say what's up to Jags. I totally blew off his awesome invite the other day so I could go film some behind the scenes stuff with said thread guy. Jax, thanks. It's early in the morning, man. Thanks for joining us. How you doing?
GM, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you sound great.
Yeah.
Nice. Hey, yeah, GM from New Zealand or down under. I'm good, man. I'm good, and thank you for having me up here. I was keen to come up and chat with you guys.
Yeah, well, we're gonna try to get you on video. That's the point. And Max, same for you. And Cesar down there, and GT and Benny, and if anybody who wants to venture up, I'm literally gonna do this until I get like at least 5 people.
Yo,
to be
I'll
on
try
here.
to be on video next week, brother.
Okay. You
Try
got
to be
it.
I'm
on
excited
video.
for you to
I
show
got
us
the
too.
old Mac that I'm getting set up.
Oh, you're good. Go
You're
ahead,
good.
Mike.
You're good. I was going to say I'm excited for you to show us how you're doing this, how this works. Why don't you tell us, Chris? I mean, I feel like I sound like a broken record, but I've been talking about the importance of video before TikTok even started. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I was like, okay, video is because again, coming from this world of journalism, and I want people to understand, before we had to, newspapers, right? We had to wait till the very next day to get the news. And then you would read it and open your newspaper and you would read the story. Then radio came around and everyone kept saying, oh my God, radio is going to take over. And then radio came around and it was the quickest way to get the information because you just had to say it, which is a bit like what Twitter Spaces is, right? You're just getting the word out there and whatnot. And then I remember when TV, I mean, I'm very young, but I remember people thinking that television came in and oh my God, it's going to kill radio. And it never did because video just takes more work. It's more time, right? But at the end of the day, people want to be able to see. People want to see what's going on.
Yep.
They can hear it. We can talk about it for days in on Twitter Spaces, but there's something about that image of being able to see what's going on. I don't know. It's just there's something powerful when it comes to video.
Yeah, I had actually a really good chat right at the end of the day yesterday with Craig from Meta Rides. And I had kind of randomly been reached out to by somebody in this space who's like, "Oh, you have like car people that you like have a big audience with? Well, then you should tell them about this thing." And I mean, I get it, but at the same token, like you don't even know me. You're gonna hit me up and tell me to go shill something to 250,000 people. Like, I don't know. Maybe we should talk first. Like, maybe you should take me on a date first. Like before you get me in the sack. But the reality was I talked to the guy who it was all about, and it was Craig at Meta Rides. We had the best talk, and we got about 10 minutes into the conversation, and then he was like, "Oh, wait, why am I not popping on screen? I don't, I don't think you could see my camera." And this is my message to everybody here is if you want to join the link, the StreamYard link, you actually have to like long press it, hold it, and then open it in your browser. That's the same thing I told Craig. And then he popped on camera and the two of us looked at each other in the face. He's in Australia. I'm in Southern California. We had the best conversation. Just two homies having a good conversation, chopping it up, talking business, talking plans, dreams, all that good stuff. And it is such a different layer. And for the people that don't want that, you don't have to. You can just show up to Twitter Spaces just like this and listen and it'll just be weird because Melina will be speaking, and it'll be coming out of my, my PFP in the corner, and one of these days I'll actually bring up the Shredditor logo here, but for now it's just, I'm winging it. I
I
show.
was gonna say too, Chris, there's something about being early. I'm okay with Elon, kind of hinting at doing video. We're gonna see how it works. But I would much rather start now doing it this way. And maybe right now it feels weird because I'm speaking through Chris's mic, but the goal is to get better every single time. So it's going to be weird. It's going to feel weird. Like even using Schiller today, it was like a different platform. And then it's like, I couldn't do the 100s. I couldn't do certain things. It felt a little weird because it's different, but I wouldn't be waiting, to do video. And I understand. I mean, I totally get it that it's more work. I'm not here saying it's not more work. I'm here saying it totally is. But my God, just like all the videos you take of your kids, wouldn't you want this? I'm like,
Yeah,
I
crazy.
can't wait. I can't wait to be 65 years old and then look at all this content.
How did
Man,
that?
I'm really full of myself now that I say that out loud. I'm like, I can't wait to look at myself. But in all honesty, I mean, this gives you, it's like building your own portfolio in a video matter. And when you look at a lot of that, like I see a lot of this content on TikTok, right? And if only people knew that people were repurposing content from 3-4 years ago,
Oh yeah.
it's just like,
Go look at
right?
Game Money stuff. Go look at his Instagram. He's got a ton of his old content that he hasn't been making for years, a year and a half. That's smart. That's called smart, not anything else. The guy's got good content and he's posting it up. Hey, we are gonna do hands. We're gonna do lots of conversation. I want this to be more than just me and Melina
Yeah,
talking
yeah. Let's get
in you
people
guys'
in.
faces. But I do want to say I want to see faces up here, and there will be faces up here. I will shill this link, this StreamYard link, everywhere until I get a lot of people up on this stage. Because to Melina's point, every time it comes to this live stream once a week that I do multiple live streams, usually 4 to 6 a week. But I have 50 hours of live streams always stacked up, and I have to download and delete 50 hours of video at any given time. And that's a lot of content, especially when a lot of people don't have any content. So having said that, let's go to Dizzy Taylor. Thank you for joining us, my man. How you doing? Ooh, we got a bite.
You know what? I'm doing super excited after seeing this topic come up because I've been in the Web3 space now for 21 weeks. And what I've decided to do, I decided about 10 weeks ago, I'm going to document my journey week by week, but in the form of a YouTube show. I've done interviews before, but I never had the right marketing. I interviewed some absolutely phenomenal people on earth. But the series went out onto YouTube, but never really got any views. But I knew it was to do with how or whoever I had assisting me to make it happen. But that's in the past. We're moving on. And like I said, I'm documenting my journey. And we've got Machiavelli on here. So Machiavelli is part of my week 4 journey. So I'm going to be interviewing Machiavelli. And my series is going to be the journey into Web3, because the common theme I'm hearing from my 21 weeks in the space is people need uplifting. Number one, the fact that decentralization means to me you have to take responsibility, and in order for you to become successful, you have to own all your results. So it being decentralized is forcing you to be responsible for what you're doing. And I think from what I've seen, there's a lot of immature people in the space that just need to grow up a little bit and figure out some business acumen to say, look, how you're going to present yourself is how people are going to see you. And all those points you said earlier about your brand and who you are as an image, your persona that you show, that's your branding, right? So if you're really going to take it seriously, and for me, this isn't the first time, so I'm now branding myself. I've got everything in line, and I've got a strategy on how we're going to move forward. So when I saw this up, and you guys are talking about this. I've got a StreamYard account. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get my laptop, and then I will join you.
Let's
on the
go.
live
I
stream.
was going to say, I loved what you said there. I wrote it down. Being decentralized is forcing me to think differently. And that's exactly how I felt when I entered Web3. And Andrew here is on the live, and he asked me today, you know, how did you start? And what really clicked for me, and I know Chris knows this story, but for everybody else, was, you know, being a content creator and then realizing that the blockchain and being decentralized allowed me to start owning my own work. And I want people to understand that, because, and we're going to talk about this, and we keep talking about this, but most people right now, especially content creators, are focusing on their content and they're focusing on followers and likes. That's all I'm seeing right now. I don't know about you, Chris, but that's all I'm seeing. And the reality is the followers and the likes is not what gets you to the next stage. You know, a lot of people emphasize Gary Vee. That's not what got him to the next stage. What got him to the next stage was figuring out his business and who his community was going to be and who was going to back him up and who he was going to make sure was going to, you know. So I want people to start focusing on, and I just loved what he said, being decentralized is forcing me to think differently. So I'm hoping that people will, you know, eventually understand that if you're in Web3 and you're serious about Web3 and you're serious about building here, it's got to be different. It can't be like what you were doing on Facebook. It can't be like what you were doing on TikTok, nor on Instagram. And even though Twitter is a Web2 platform, we all know very well that Elon is working hard and making it different and not keeping it Web2-ish. So I just want people to start focusing on how they're going to build their brand different this time around. And this is this is it. This is your last shot. For me anyways, this is my last shot. I'm giving it my all right now. I don't know about you, Chris. I'm not even going to wait for Web 4. I'm doing it now in Web 3.
I don't know. I'm worthless anywhere else. And I just don't like to do what I'm supposed to do or what anybody tells me to. So like, I don't care. I'm skate or die. Like that's all there is. I did want to though say hi to our first video guest, Andrew from Schiller.
What's up?
Hey, man. Comment.
It's so good to see faces, right?
Yeah. I know.
I love it.
We spend so much time behind a PFP, but this is great. And, you know, the conversation, obviously, for me personally, couldn't come at a better time. But, you know, I've been in the music space for over almost 23 years, and I spent 12 of those at MTV. So I feel like, you know, in the early 2000s, we really pioneered short form content, the 360 experience, going from broadcast to online to on demand, and you know, set a lot of trends. So I've definitely been on the other end of a content creator, helping artists really tap into their fans by making content that's relevant. And as you just said, Melina, different, because if I have a series to promote artists and every artist does the same format, it's going to be boring. So how can they massage that format for them, and their fans will, you know, react differently, right? So you know, I'm not going to share what I'm doing, but you know, I feel like the space needs a change, and I love that you guys are talking about it. And yeah, I may have to run out for 5 minutes. I got to drop my kid down the street, so I'm going to stay on, but I'll just turn off my cam and mute, and then I'll be back. But
yeah, come back.
That's the cool thing too, is that like for anybody who does want to join, this is something that I think sometimes people think that they're like excluded, but look what happens when I turn off my camera. Look at my PFP. It's moving. I'm safe. I could be a chicken or a turtle or whatever said NFT animal makes me feel comfortable. But so that is a thing. People can actually be their animal self. And we got Jags now, and we got our lovely co-host, the beautiful Sansa. And so I want to go to Jags in a second. But real quick, Sansa, are you going to join us live? Are you going to grace us with your presence?
I'm literally going to this space on my desktop, but like long story short, I I'm not on my main account on desktop. I'm only on like my alt. So I had to like search you, get here, find it, and literally was about to click on the StreamYard link as you asked me
I
that.
love it.
So yes, I am gonna join you.
Let's
Also,
go.
I just like to announce that I've made it. I just got the co-host invite almost right away.
Mhm.
I've made it. I'm officially co-host of all of Web3. Which means that it is also my last shot because I am useless anywhere else as well. So I'm excited to hopefully slingshot this last shot here. But yeah, I am joining you in a little bit. But I just wanted to say, Chris, like I think it's interesting because I brought it up briefly. I think it's interesting the difference that we're seeing here and the difference we're seeing everywhere else, which is that short form content here is like king almost.
Yep.
But when it comes to outside this, and I don't mean to like change the topic or anything, I just want.
Did we lose him?
I think
I think it's as he's joining. Could it be?
he said, "I just," and that was that.
So and then on everywhere else, long form content is king because now there's someone I'm trying to remember his username. I keep fucking forgetting, but he's I think it's Frank or something. I don't know. Anyway, he's a dude who has an abnormally big ass. He rides on a motorcycle. He's got a green screen behind him. He rides on a motorcycle, goes up a ramp. But like he has millions on millions on millions of views. And what's his paycheck? $2,000.
Yep.
Like,
so that's
and then
not
there
a
was a
derailed
comment right
conversation.
underneath that.
That's the same
Was it-
conversation we were having, and I'm glad that you actually brought up numbers. But continue, and then I'll dovetail on that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess I was in the conversation even when I wasn't here. So that just goes to show. That just goes to show how involved you can be. But no, in all seriousness, and then there was another account under that called Doodad. If you don't know it, you should. It's hilarious, especially if you're a parent or you whatever. But he was saying it needs to be 3 minutes plus. Otherwise, everyone else can do it the same thing that you're doing, but with a lot less money and a lot less needed fame, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it. But anyway, just wanted to put that out there.
You're not wrong, dude. You're not wrong. And I think, and we'll touch on this a little while later and get into kind of strategy and stuff. We're gonna get with Jags right now. We're gonna get with our guy Dizzy Taylor that popped in. There's this other guy that just showed up. His name's Sansa. He was really violent yesterday, and I loved it. Yeah, there's some good stuff going on. So this is what we're going to do, though. I'm going to give the first little bit of value here for our guy Jags because he is vertical, and I believe that means he's on a phone. And I also think he doesn't know all he has to do is turn his phone sideways, and then we'll be able to see his whole beautiful view in landscape. Boom, like that.
Wow, look at him go.
Look at this guy. He's already getting better. So we're workshopping today, ladies and gentlemen. Share the space out, will you? Let some people know that you can learn things like how to turn your phone 90 degrees. Fantastic. This is the alpha that's going to change your life. Jags, what's up, man? How are you? Happy to see you.
I am doing great. Hey, this is my first time, man. And yeah, we got there finally. We finally got there. Yoo-hoo!
So cool.
Jags, I was
love
going to
it.
say congrats. You got a gig. People will actually pay you now. Oh, he left, but maybe he's coming back. I don't know if you can hear me.
He turned off his camera because
He said, I don't want your compliment. Get out of my face. That's what he
No, can you guys hear me? Can you guys
Yeah,
hear
We
me?
can hear you. We can hear you.
you just turned off your camera. That's all.
Oh, what happened there? Oh, there you are. There you are.
He's back.
Yeah,
There you
hi.
are.
I was going
Hello,
to say,
how are you?
congrats on the gig. You're one of the lucky creators who actually gets paid to do video. So congrats.
Can you tell us about that, dude? You just got hooked up a $2,500 setup. What's the deets? We want to be inspired.
Yeah, I think for me, it's more because that's my community. Like I've been hanging out with them for more than a year now. And the beautiful thing about the founders is because they're from Australia, I'm from New Zealand. We have that connection, and they always knew that there's something I could do for the space, but I was just lost in the trading and that era. And then that's where they sort of jumped in and they said, maybe you stop trading and maybe you work on building something in the space. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So it's been 7 months. I haven't traded. I haven't minted anything. I didn't even touch shit coins this year. And the journey has been beautiful, like short and concise. And I asked them, hey, I'm struggling hard financially. I don't have money to buy the setup. And I've been doing videos on my phone. What sort of support is there? And I used to be a collab manager. And I think this is the good thing about me. I like outreaching. I don't wait people to get to me and then ask, hey, can you work? I normally go to people and brand and stuff, making sure that the brands and the people are aligning with the value of my brand. And hey, let's start talking. So this is what happened. I asked them 2 weeks ago, hey, I need support. What can you guys do? And there'll be terms and conditions. They said, oh, we don't really look to get anything back, but if you need money, let's do it. Why stop things? Why let these things be an obstacle in your creative journey? So tell us what you need. And I said, this is the amount I'm looking at. This is the money. It's gonna be converted into New Zealand dollars. So this is what I need. They said, give us 2 weeks. They did their things, spoken to the team, the founders and stuff, and then after that they said the money's in your account, in your wallet, go get it, get your setup and shit. So took it 2 weeks, and I'm so happy. And I think this is the beautiful thing about Web3. When you have those connections and the network and the support network, hey, do let them know, hey, I wanted to do something, but I'm struggling financially, or I'm struggling with the community, or I'm struggling this part of the thing, right? How can you support me? And I have that community. That's my base community. So if my tweets do get numbers or anything, that's all because of that community, because they just go hard on my tweets and stuff. They love my content.
I love that.
And coming back to the numbers and thing, I think most of us, I will include myself, I used to be like this. We all lost in the numbers. And I just got out of the numbers game, I would say 4 to 6 weeks, where it's not the numbers. You produce quality content, put it out there. When people align to it, they find value, they're going to come to you, they're going to follow you, they're going to turn the notifications on. That's me.
Dude,
I love that.
You've been crushing it too. You've been working super hard. You see the videos, you're putting in the time, you're editing, you're pacing so much stuff. You've been just improving visually. I've been watching it. And I love the fact that you were able to at least come out and say, like, this is where I'm lacking and what would really help. And for them, that becomes a yes or no question. Do you want immediate increase in the value that this dude's bringing to the table, or do you not? And like, that's the best way to pitch any brand, is like, do you want to work with me? Yes or no. Not read through all these things and like try to sell, like consolidate it down, make it an easy choice for them. Yes or no. I know when I first started, I had the conversation with the founder and he was like, well, how much would it cost for me to like get you full time? And I was like, right now I'm making like $8,000 from all these videos I'm posting on Facebook, this and that. And he's like, $8,000, easy. And then I was like, all right. And then I went hard and I worked my ass off for a whole month. And I'm like, okay, got to pay the mortgage, got to pay this or that. And I'm like, what's up? And he's like, oh, you thought I was going to pay you $8,000. No, I just said it would be easy for me to get you $8,000. Like I'm not going to pay you that. And I was like, bro, I'm out on a limb. I trusted you. I went, okay, so let that be a lesson. That's how it goes in Web3 most of the time. Don't put yourself in a stupid position, buy the $2,500 setup, and then be like, okay, you said you were going to do it, because this is a sketch ass place as a creator.
Yeah.
We'll go out on limbs for people. That's what I'll say. I'm stoked that you didn't.
That is literally why I double, triple, quadruple check before I do anything. There's a dude who took a whole month to send me a contract. And then when he finally sent it to me, I was like, cool, let's start the work. And then he's like, never mind, I have to do some amends. And we started the work. And I was like, bruh. So let that be a lesson. Doesn't matter how long. It's not on you, it's on them. And this place is crazy. They'll gaslight you to oblivion. So don't fall for the tricks. Just literally check as if you have done nothing on the conversation that you just had. That's the best way forward. That's all I want to add there.
Melina, over to you. I know you were trying to chime in.
Well, I mean, it just got me thinking, because you mentioned me building out what I'm building right now, and all of this is exactly what I want creators to go home with. I thought about this for a long time, and Chris and I have been talking about this for a long time. And he's like, you have all this experience, and I've built this reputation, but I thought to myself, how can I empower content creators, right? And my focus really was on the content creator who is literally doing this part-time, but wants a way to make it as full-time, right? Their full-time gig, right? Like, how do I get rid of dealing with these nasty contracts? How do I make it so my part-time content creator business turns into a full-time? And so right now I have been diving deep, and I've been very quiet on Twitter because I'm working out all those kinks. And let me tell you, I've purchased too many programs, and I'm sure Chris has too, or probably never did, but I don't know in this room how many people have purchased content creator programs where no one teaches you how you can start making money right away. And it's, we're talking about, making $100 or $200 by hosting a Twitter space. I say, forget about that and go figure out how to make real money without Twitter spaces. So that's my thing. And I was having this conversation within my community because a lot of the times too, no one teaches us this. No one teaches us how you can, as a creator, amplify your voice. How can you write out and draft out a contract where you make sure that you get the biggest piece of the pie, not the other way around? How do you secure your work? How do you get paid fairly? How do you ask to get paid? How many times did I go on a call with someone thinking they want to hire me as a content creator, only to find out they just want to know how my day is?
That's it.
I wasted 1 hour, right? Like how many of us have been through that? And so I've been working on the kinks because I'm so tired. And I really want people, especially in this space, because we are turning into a creator economy. What does that look like? So how do we get these part-timers to full-time? So I've been working on that right now on the side. But now I want, and we had said this before, and Chris was like, you know what? Let's ask our audience today. I want to know, because here I am thinking, as a part-time content creator, if you were to join me and my community in figuring out how you can become full-time, I always think to myself, well, they have jobs, right? So is it better to offer someone like a 30-day framework? Like, here's 30 days, here's everything you need. Or do we do this because I think to myself, as a part-timer wanting to do it full-time, I know that I don't have 40 hours to dedicate to this, right? I'm only going to get maybe 10 hours a week because I'm already doing the part-time gig. Plus I'm working, plus I'm editing, plus I'm thinking on my thumbnail, plus I'm on ChatGPT. Like I know because I've been there. I'm there too, right? So I want to know what's easier for creators right now. Is it a 30-day framework or is it a 3-month thing? Do we want to do this longer term? I want to get Benny. Benny just raised his hand. Jags is here nodding. I would love opinions and thoughts because I am truly doing this for the creator who wants to make this his full-time thing. His, her, obviously. No gender neutral. Let's go.
Gender neutral Benny, over to you.
Here, this is an interesting topic because the bottom line comes down to money amount. Everybody needs a different amount of money to live day to day, month to month. Some of us have kids. Some of us live in areas that are more expensive than others. Some of us live in countries that tax you out the ass and wind up taking a third to a fourth of your money anyways. So it becomes hard. So I think it has to become a more longer thing. So people can really, really gain their footing to know what, that could look like. Because this is what people also don't understand. When you run a business and you're not an employee anymore, the money's different. It comes in different. It comes in at different times. It's not as regular. So that's a whole nother learning curve within itself. So I think that there's a learning curve. There's 2 learning curves: A, how to run a business, and B, how to produce monetary value as a content creator. I think both of those learning curves should be done over like a 3 to 6 month almost. Sometimes even for some people, putting a time cap on it may be hard because they may need more time. Because there's just a lot of learning curves that go into that are far more than just producing the content, but how to run a business, how to run a content creating business, how to monetize the content, how to create the cash flow regularly month to month so that you aren't going to get a part-time job every 60 days. I think a lot goes into it.
So true.
It's so funny because Benny, thank you for that take. Because Chris today was like, definitely 30 days. And I was like, are you sure, Chris? I don't know. I feel like creators need time.
Yeah, I feel like most people are very impatient when it comes to what they want to get out of a lot of this stuff. And I could just say I've been through a lot of programs. You brought that up earlier, Melina, and like, man, I've spent some money. I've spent some crazy, stupid, like
So dumb, right? Yeah.
amounts of money on things that did not help. So, but I do think that is a question. If you want, throw in the comments below on the thread here. I would love if we actually use that. You could comment on YouTube, so I will display your comments if you post up if you're watching live. But comment below too, like what is a better, I don't know, framework for
creators, yeah.
creators, yeah. Like, would you want an intensive 30-day or would you want it spread out? I'm such a slacker that like I just will end up falling off. Just 3 months in, I'm like, fuck that. I can't.
It's too long.
That's a long time deal.
Okay, we see Sansa here. You want to go to Sansa and then we'll go to
with his hand up, and then we're gonna go to Dizzy. But chime in really quick. Don't monologue. If you do, I can't do anything about it. But I'm gonna ask you, don't monologue before we go to Dizzy.
No. I've been working on it. I promise. I've been doing more one-take videos to get my monologues out, Chris. I don't know if you noticed, but I actually just did one earlier. But the point that I wanted to make here is that like I am probably the king of buying shit thinking that it was going to help me out, and I just let it sit. Like buying a workout program, I'm going to get after it. Let's go. This money's going to motivate me to get after it. And $240 later and a few months later, haven't done shit. And here we are. So it's just, don't buy something thinking this is going to be the motivator. It's not. It's not going to be the motivator. It's not going to do anything for you. And so I think it's really important for people to understand that the motivation comes from within, not from you buying something and then depending on the kind of like an advance in motivation, I guess is the lack of a better way to say it. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out.
You're right. I put a disclaimer in and I said, this doesn't mean that you're going to quit your job tomorrow either, because you got to put in the work, right? We all got to put in those reps. Like I've been doing my squats and I notice a difference. I'm like, I've been putting in my reps.
Yep. It does go back to the whole don't count your eggs before they hatch thing too.
For sure.
To my bozo move, I actually told my wife this too. She was so mad. She was so mad at the person that kind of like left me out on a limb there. And I was like, you can be mad at this guy, but he's just being a hustler. Like, that's just what he's going to be. I'm the idiot that went out on a limb. So, like, I'm the one that made the bozo move. And so I think that just kind of goes back to, like, don't assume if you spend $3,000 on a program that you're going to make the 6 digits that the program tells you you're going to make, because you're not. You're not going to make the 6 digits, pal. That's the dream. That's why you spent the $3,000. Okay. Having said that, and my bozo takes, Dizzy, your gorgeous face showed up here. You graced us. You're smiling, and no one's passed the mic over to you, and that's my fault. So I'm happy. Like, dude,
that's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
I need the audacity.
Look, I've been listening, watching, and Jags, I've been watching yourself on TikTok and your videos. I'm loving it. I've seen your growth in like you mentioned, over time. And congratulations on getting paid for it, because look, that's the end goal, right? The end goal is how can you get paid bucket loads of money for doing something you absolutely love doing.
So good.
That's the aim of the game, right? It doesn't matter what it is. If you like talking shit, find a way of getting paid bucket loads of money for chatting shit. Yeah, because look, the thing is, if you know what you want, you're gonna get it.
That's right.
It's simple. You get what you focus on. And I'll tell you a funny story, right? So when I was 26, I was a hairdresser, and my mate said to me, he goes, you got to come and watch Tony Robbins. You got to come. You've been telling me for years. And one final year, I made it. And the first thing I realized was there were 12,500 people there, and everyone had paid a minimum of £400. Okay. My math said you're going to make about 4.5 million quid in 4 days. Nobody told me at school that you could get paid to talk. I didn't realize it was a career option. And at UPW, Robin says, look, whatever you want to become in life, find somebody who's there. If you can move in with them, move in with them. Find out everything they've gone through to get to where they've got to. Because, like you said, when people say to me, oh, Dizzy, you're so good at speaking, that's because I've been practicing for 20 years, you dickhead. Yeah?
That's right.
Yeah, I'm not just getting up on stage or getting up anywhere and making an amazing speech because I'm just gifted. No. Listen, the first time I got in front of an audience, I froze like a fucking rabbit in the headlights, yeah? I forgot everything I had to say. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? And the thing is, as I got inspired by Tony Robbins, I thought, okay, what I want to do for a living now, and I had a really successful hair salon in London. I had famous people coming to my shop. It was the shop to go to, right? People would come in and they say, I wonder which celebrity is behind the door today, right? So people said to me, why do you want to give that up? And I said, listen, I've been there, done it. I got kicked out of my house. I wanted to become a hairdresser. I wanted to do it in London. I wanted the baddest shop with the baddest people, and I had it. It's done. So now the next journey was I want to become a motivational speaker. I want to get up on stage. And I found a guy. I recognized the back of his head, and I said, excuse me, mate, I recognize your head from somewhere. And as a hairdresser, I recognize heads, right? It's one of those things. Anyway, so he turned around and gave me this weird look, and he was like, I said, what do you do, mate? He was I'm a motivational speaker. I said, you really? I said, that's what I want to do for a living. Can you give me your number? So I messaged him every morning for about 3 months, between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. I sent him a motivational quote every single day. Jump out of bed. Go to a place in your life when you felt powerful. Okay, close your eyes. Feel how you felt when you were there. Jump out of bed and do 20 star jumps right now. That was the message. And he goes to me, bro, what are you on, man? You're on fire. Every single day you keep sending me messages. So then he goes, right, listen, if you really want to do it, go to this hotel in Heathrow Airport, wear a suit, make sure you look sharp. It's going to cost you a tenner, right? I was like, sweet, I'm game. Let's do it. So I turned up, and this Canadian guy from the front of the room showed us how he could make £500,000 in 10 months. I was like, mate, sign me up. I'm in. As a hairdresser, I'm a hustler, right? That's always been the case. I always sell people everything. You're not just getting a haircut, mate. You're getting everything, right? Whatever you want, I'm going to sort it out. So for me, it was another hustle, right? And I thought, okay, £500,000. I want to be at the front of the room telling the story. And that got me into sales. And then my friend then introduced me to Les Brown, Jim Rohn. And I figured, you know what? The best thing to do now is study the best speakers on earth. What makes them great speakers? There was one guy I met in South Africa called John Keogh. He wrote a book called Mind Power. I don't know if you've heard of him. But when he spoke, oh my goodness me, the one thing I learned is he defines his words. So if I'm on stage and I talk to you like this, you will hear every single word that I say. Now, if you've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000, a million people, and you can command that pause, the emphasis of a word, and you let the message land. Oh my goodness me. So for me,
makes you some money too, man. I've made some good deals telling somebody what the cost is, and then I just let it hang because I'm like, you're gonna be the one that's nervous about it being quiet right now, not me. I want to give a quick lesson really quick, and then I want you to continue the story. So when we're live streaming and we're on Twitter Spaces, nobody teaches you this because this education doesn't exist. So one of us in here, let's find the speaker. One of us in here has a phone, and when they're on stage, you can't mute it all the way. It's annoying. It's not your fault. It's Twitter's fault. But one of us has a phone that is making noise in the background, and that's why we can hear background noise, because it's the speaker that's coming out of the phone and then it's going back into the speaker. So just know, if you're ever on a live stream and you're on a Twitter space at the same time, If you have your phone with you and you want to be like not worrying about your phone at all, I stick it under a pillow, like set it to the side so that it muffles it and you can't hear it, or you can stick like the wired headphones in and just duck those somewhere else. But I just want to chime in and say that because I do want people to learn about live streaming while we're in here. But the more important part, truthfully, what Dizzy is just talking about is, I mean, he just mentioned like the heavy hitter speakers and the things that are super universally true, and commanding voice and that delivery it's everything. So
The only thing I want to say is that Dizzy, it only sounds good because of your accent. And so, like I wish,
that accent, man.
like it wouldn't work with me.
I'm so glad that you were the one that said that, because I did not know how to term that. Like if I had a commanding voice like that, oh my God, forget it. I would not have. I'd be able to say, I just took a poop today, and you all would be like, yes, yes, let's go. No, but in all seriousness, that's incredible. Seriously.
Yeah.
I didn't want to cut you off, Dizzy, but I just wanted to throw the little thing in there, just so if anybody hears it in the background, we'll be able to suss it out and find out what's what. And then I'm going to clip that content out and put it out there, because people ask me all the time, how do you do Twitter Spaces and live stream at the same time? And that's one of the things you got to know with it. Go ahead, Melina.
I was going to say, did we want to do more hands? I feel like after Dizzy spoke, Jags had his hand raised. We have got Web3 Stoop in the crowd. Hello. We've got Mac. We've got Benny.
In the house. Look, we got another live streamer here, but we are going to bounce back and forth. So she's 100% right. So but I didn't want to like just absolutely cap that off. But was there an end to the story, Dizzy? Because I think we were all
listen, there's plenty of stories, man. We can end it there, man. I could talk all night.
All right. Well,
I'll just daydream while you're talking, Dizzy.
Yeah, right?
I mean, Dizzy, please go on. I can listen all day. No, but real quick before we start throwing the hands, I just want to give, because I didn't have a chance to do it earlier. It slipped my mind. Jazz, you and I talked a very long time ago, and I remember the very moment you reached out to me in DMs, where I was just like barely up and coming as a Spaces host, right? Like I was just still kind of finding my groove, and you reached out to me, and this would happen just right after Shiv and I had been talking a little bit, and you just, you showed up and you said, I have something valuable to offer, and everything. Fucking kudos, my man. You showed up, and you showed up hard. So keep going. You're doing way better than you think, my man. So I see you. I'm looking forward to the future that you have to bring, for real.
All right, we're gonna do hopscotch around. I know Jags he's on. He has live stream privileges, and he's still raising his hand like a nice boy. That was super sweet. I want to throw it back to you, Jags, real quick. You're muted here on the live stream too, by the way.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sansa. Yeah, I remember the conversations, bro, and I think bringing it back to the consistency part of it, it's a big word being used in the Web3 space, but consistently improving is important as well. And I think that was the key factor for me. I always send my first video to people in DMs, and I think I did send it in the group chat, Chris. I look at it and it feels like, man, I've come a long way, and it was all possible because of the love and support everyone was showing, and people were literally commenting the feedback. And there was a time I was getting roasted, and I was happy that people actually taking time to roast me with the feedback that, hey, it was too fast, hey, it was too slow, the edits, there was some too many edits which were not necessary. You go too hard on edits, or there's not too many edits. I honestly appreciate every single thing people said, and I think this is what really made me improve. Like with every video that I was worried at the time that shit, I'm gonna make sure there's not too many edits. I'm gonna make sure it's not too fast. I'm not speaking too fast, because the other part inside me is English being a second language. It does sort of scare me sometimes, but we're slowly getting better. And Sansa, you've come a long way, bro. Like I look up to you and Chev. Inspiration, brother. Inspiration. Big times. And I think the beautiful thing is, even though we haven't spoken in DMs for the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks, but whenever we see each other, we see the content, we appreciate it. That's the beautiful thing. We don't have to those formalities over Twitter. We're every day replying and just showing to the community that, hey, we care for each other. A nice DM in 6 weeks or 10 weeks, that means a lot, brother. That means a lot. So I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you so much.
God, it's so warm and fuzzy in here. This is
I
fantastic.
know.
Jesus.
We're all
I know,
smiling.
we're
By
just
the way, Twitter
absolutely
peeps.
mangling the flower shop. We're just absolutely mangling the flower shop.
Oh, it's so good. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna reconfigure. We're back to this. Melina's the best of us, so she gets to be there for now. We're gonna throw it over to the hands. We got Web3 Stoop, and we got Mac, and we got Emily. I want to hop to these hands, and then just so that you know, I'm gonna tee you up there, Mr. The Swap. We're gonna go to you, and then Cesar after that. So, without further ado, my guy, Web3 Soups, what's up?
You know what's ironic is like I am currently entering the studio because I need to test out my live streaming as I'm getting ready to talk with Sansa here later today. But I will do it on the Spaces just because I think it's a little bit easier, makes it a little bit better. But yeah, I just figured I'd come in and answer the question. I was willing to do it for $16 an hour when I heard about Kick's affiliate program or like
that was
whatever
a troll, by
Kick
the way.
is trying to do.
That actually wasn't real, apparently, which sucks. But go ahead.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
really?
it was just some asshole that's like, let's get all these bozos on the internet all excited about Kick, and then we're all like, $16 an hour. I was sitting there in the hallway talking to Leap the other day when we were doing the little behind the scenes thing, and I'm like, yeah, $16 an hour. He's like, that's not bad. Yeah, we're just both idiots. We got trolled. So now we all know, just to put that myth down.
They knew what they were doing, 100%. They knew what they were doing.
For sure. Yeah, now, I mean, well, at least I'm set up now. I can still live stream to Twitter at the same time. Again, I just don't have a soundboard. I told this to Sansa too. I don't have a soundboard, so like that's the next focus that I have is like getting a soundboard so that I'm not playing Spaces audio through my mic onto the live stream. Like I just feel like that'll be a whole convoluted mess. So I do need to definitely figure some things out. But yeah, that just blew me. You just blew my mind, Chris. I can't fucking believe it.
I'm sorry, my son. You do not need a soundboard, but you also will not make $16 an hour.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I was gonna say, who's gonna say it first that he doesn't need a soundboard?
Yeah, you don't need us. You don't need anything. Listen, our guy Jags up here, fully evidence. You grow, you get better, you just keep kicking ass with your phone. With your phone, your supercomputer in your pocket that does all the things, that's all you need. You can make waves with that phone. So I know that's like, again, I don't have the sexy, like, here's how to get viral video. You don't know what to do if you go viral anyway. Yeah, you don't have anything in place. And I don't mean you in any one person in this room. I mean, in general, when I talk to people on the internet, you wouldn't know what to do with 8 million views anyway. What would it do? Oh, you're a big deal on TikTok now? Sweet. You're still late on your car payment, right? Like, get your shit in order and then go viral. And if you don't have your shit in order, then like spend your time learning how to get your shit in order, not how to go viral. That comes later. Okay. Sorry. I know that wasn't sexy. We got Mac in the house, and you're all invited. And if you want to come up and have the live stream privilege, and do what Web3 pop in here and he's live. And I can't mute him. I'm trying to mute his mic in here, but I can't. You got a loop. There it is.
Oh, there flashbacks, Chris. Am I right? Flashbacks.
Yeah, what exactly makes makes a voice compelling?
What's that?
I said, what exactly makes a voice compelling? By the way, I was in the back room for a minute with my camera on.
Oh,
but I had to do some cooking and stuff like that, so y'all missed out on me. But I currently am navigating this ecosystem, and I got a couple of paid gigs, you know what I'm saying? And that's cool and everything. But like, really what drew me in here was that clickbait title, 100 to 250 per hour to live stream.
Ooh, I'll talk about that,
well, essentially because like, you know, being I never really considered myself a content creator. I've always wanted to be like a radio show host or a Tonight Show host or something like that along those lines of that media. And like, I have a really good way of like, you know, my voice, it carries or whatnot, and it's very unique. But at the same time, if I need to talk like this, I can talk like this. So please turn the page. You know what I'm saying? It's just the amount of airflow that I'm willing to really let out over the vocal cords or whatnot. But I think that this is very interesting. I love how you're pushing the narrative forward as well, Chris, especially with like getting a lot of us to want to be on camera, to have our face seen. You know what I'm saying? Essentially, because I didn't get into this to be anonymous. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Essentially, I got into this for my voice to be heard, for my face to be seen, so that I could essentially leave a mark or at least contribute to the narrative in a positive, progressive way. And I don't know what else I was gonna say, but that's pretty much. But oh yeah. Just what makes a voice compelling?
I mean, listen, we have all these voices on stage. Your voice, listen, this is the one thing that I think works with every voice is, do you actually believe the things you're saying? And do they make anybody feel things? Because if you're just talking, like, and this is kind of like, I hate to say it, I got a lot of shit to talk always, but I try to not do that because everyone's so positive on Twitter. I'm usually not the most positive of guys, but I'm also not negative. I got my takes. And one of those takes is sometimes people just want to say things to be heard. They're like, hey, if I raise my hand and I go on a crowded stage, then people will hear me and then they'll follow me. And now I'll have vanity metrics. And I'm like, cool, you're a dog chasing a car. What are you going to do when you catch the car? You don't even know. You're just chasing it because you're a dog. You don't know better. Like, it looks like something that you should chase, so you chase it. And that's my challenge to everybody. If you're going to use your voice, what makes a compelling voice? Like, is it impactful? TG's on that kick right now. Impact, actually TG and GT, both of those acronyms. Can you do something with your voice? Like, is somebody going to remember what you said because it made them feel something? Did you touch them? Like, did you pull on their heartstrings? Did you make them mad? That works. I mean, I don't think that's the best way, but it
my
works.
voice makes them tingle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, well,
you know what I'm saying?
You have a hook. You know what I mean? Like, you have this immediately, like, people will listen in. They'll be like, huh, what's this guy actually saying? So you have a really kick-ass opportunity with your voice because of how your voice sounds to say something that matters. And I think that's cool because, most people don't have that. Dizzy's got that. He's got that magical voice. He could say, Chris, you're ugly and you don't actually know what you're talking about. And I'll be like, keep talking, bro. Let's go. So
oh yeah, Dizzy's a charmer out here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. But I think say something that matters. Say something that helps somebody, that's memorable because it makes them feel something. That's always the go-to that I have. It doesn't matter what your voice sounds like. Sansa,
So
who's got
so
yeah,
I just wanted to chime in really, really quickly because I'm someone who personally, most of my life growing up, I was extremely unconfident, like just very insecure, and my voice showed all of that. I'm a hard on the sleeve kind of guy. I emulate my emotions through my voice. You can tell whether I'm excited, whether I'm upset, whether I'm just select any emotion whatsoever, right? And funny enough, then I became a personal trainer who had to coach group classes, who had to practice public speaking at every turn possible for 40 to 50 hour floor hours with groups of women, with groups of men, everyone in between, everything. At different groups, people that love to shit talk me, people that like to really stay positive, people who are extremely negative, people in between. And I had to practice a lot of that going back and forth. And then I was a nutrition coach who did it remotely with people over the screen like you and I right now. And then I came into Web3. So I had 3 to 5 years of experience of that to then come into this with understanding I need to be fucking confident. There are people who are in worse off circumstances than I am, who are, and I'm not saying I'm smart, but everyone has someone dumber than them and everyone has someone smarter than them, right? Yeah. There are people that I know, I'm like, bro, I love you, but like, I'm smarter than you. How are you better off? I don't get it. And more often than not, it is about the confidence in their voice and the confidence in their delivery on the very exact thing that they're talking about. At any moment during the speech, if you're like, well, yeah, and then so stop that. Be confident. Rehearse it if you need to. That's the important part. Even if you're just a tiny bit wrong in what you're saying, you can always come back later on and say, oh, sorry, let me fact check myself. I was a little wrong on that part in the middle, but it's actually this. That's it. And you do not need to stutter over yourself and trip over yourself, trying to catch yourself constantly to go back and correct what you were saying. I just wanted to add that little part.
Yeah, you should reserve the right to not be perfect. That is a thing. So check this out. We've got Emily with her hand up. She's always so patient with me because I suck it. Listen, there's no class that teaches you how to be good at managing a Twitter space and a live stream at the same time. We have 9 faces up here that are looking at me, and I want to hear from all of them. And could you imagine having a completely packed live stream Twitter space where no more people could come in? No, you can't, because that doesn't exist. But I got 10 spots on this live stream filled up. I can't even fill anymore. So if somebody else comes up, I'm gonna have to drop the Twitter space visual off of this stuff. But without further ado of me rambling, Emily, I really want to hear from you. How are you today?
I am fine. How are you, Chris, Melina, Sendo?
Wow, what a beautiful voice she has. I just wanted to say, Em, we love you so much. How are you?
I am good. You know, I have to say, Chris, that I got gotten by the clickbait. Like, I was like, what? 100?
That's a real thing, though, too.
Per hour?
I'll get into that later.
like,
but yeah, it's a real thing. Go ahead.
All right. So, oh, no, sorry. I have to move from where I am. But I wanted to say that, so, you know what? Just get, I need to go out. So if you can come back to me, sorry,
Yeah.
I need to get out of the building.
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
All right, bye-bye.
I'll touch on this for a second. And this is what happens to me all the time. I'll go to say something, and then they'll be like, okay, and next we're gonna go to Chris. And then like I get ready, and like I'll go to my garage and I sit there like an asshole. I look at my phone and I just wait like a dog waiting for his master to come home. And I just wait and I wait, and like sometimes it's like 40 minutes later. And by then, like I'm back on the couch, like I'm mid-movie or whatever. I don't know. So these things happen apparently in Twitter Spaces. But go ahead.
I feel that hard. No, I was just gonna say I feel that. I definitely, especially when you got multiple hands up, you're like, shit, which one was the first one again? You know. So that's why I try to say the order in advance to let people know, like, hey, this is what's gonna happen. You know.
I don't know how to mute.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can. We heard a dinosaur as well, but now I think we can only hear you.
I mean, I can't believe you time traveled live on Spaces with us. I'm honored.
That's impressive.
All right. So yeah, I first wanted to come up to you to kind of answer Melina, but I did in the chat. And for me, I'm hungry to make it because as for me, like we are kind of riding on this there's to who you want to be and want to capitalize on that, right? With courses and stuff, 30 days, you got to get down and do it. And what did I wanted to say about that? But from a course now, I've taken so many, like the mindset, because it needs to be addressed, but I really want you to show me what you know. Like it needs like 100% practical, because more so a lot of the time, like, yes, I'm a big proponent of like do it yourself, like DIY learning, but at some point you need to do it with somebody just to know that if you're, how can I say this? Are you hitting the right markers, right? Like because what takes the longest is to get that confidence and to kind of feel like you know what you're doing. And when you have this coach, this guy.
What?
She's coming.
Rug, or is that just me?
Yeah, all the way
I
around.
think she rugged. I like what she's saying. And she's absolutely right, honestly. I think, she's back.
Emily, you back? We're trying to pull you back in.
Am I back?
Walk 5 feet the other way.
Touch something metal.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, no.
No, you're good. We
Okay,
can hear you.
good.
I was just laughing too hard at Chris' joke.
I was like, no. I was like, when you're in a road, you're like, you're feeling what you're saying, and like, man, I'm saying something good here.
Aw.
But yeah, basically, sometimes like what it'll tell you, like with like being a creator, is that you doubt yourself so much. So with the course or with like a workshop or what have you, like let's get down to it. I need you to guide me and show me what you got for like 30 days, and then I'm good to go, right? Like I don't know. You need that hand holding for the first 3 months so you can get over the imposter syndrome and just get down and do it. So that's what I had to bring to the conversation. Thank you for having me up.
We appreciate you, Emily.
I love that, Em. Thank you so much. I already, we're already chatting in the DM. So, and I will say, in my case, I really don't see the benefit in token gating. Like when I say token gating is, I really want to be able to show people exactly what I do, how I do it, why it works. And what I realize, and Chris gives me my flowers every single time, but what people have told me is that what really helps is that, people trust me, so I take it to heart. The other thing I will say, I have been analyzing, because that's part of it too, is I've studied so many courses. And the one thing that bothered me was that I was never able to actually speak to the person who was giving the course. Right. And that's something I don't want to do, because it's just like, I want to be there, and if we're really serious about building this content, we got to do it together. That there's no way, around that. That's for sure. So thanks, Em. We've got more hands.
We do, but we have a very patient The Swap.
Yes, we do.
We have
he's quiet.
Yeah, I don't like to chime in too much, but I appreciate you having me.
We're going full screen with The Swap right now. Let's go.
Thank you. So yeah, as you guys have already shown, that like Twitter Spaces already need the video platform. So when that does actually come into effect, hopefully you guys still use StreamYard. It's pretty unique to be able to get on multiple platforms. But what you guys have just stressed with like being able to build content with what you have is actually a pretty important thing for all new content creators. If you look at like the history, like there was a viral song over, I think last summer, Bad Habit by Steve Lacy, who's now got like 28 million viewers a month on Spotify. He has a song that hit 1 billion views that was made from his iPhone on GarageBand. It's called like Dark Red or something like that. You can look up the story for it, but that's just, to show that, most things can be done with your Android or your iPhone, whatever you have, just to get your early stages of content created. And then from there, you build up your fan base, community, whatever, whether it's TikTok or other platforms. I think more people need to see the importance of that before overspending and putting themselves in a hole, because it can be brutal for other people to get out. And if you look at the economy and how things have, laid out, some things could be really troubling for people to, come out of those situations. So I hope that message gets across to other content creators and all that, just because it is important to factor that in.
So true. I think I feel bad for people who have this hope in a silver bullet. They so want to believe that one exists that they're like, if I only had that magic thing, that it just makes it all work. And that shit is not real. It doesn't exist. There's the one computer that makes it. If you could just spend that $4 or $5 grand on the latest, 8 million RAM, MacBook, like then you'd be able to edit fast enough. Like, no, not really. Like you'd still be a bottleneck at some point. Or if you had the $4,000 camera, well, here's the problem with the $4,000 camera. Now you're gonna need the $3,000 lens. And there's no end to the once you get into the like top end of this stuff, there's no end. Like it just goes up forever. And so like what doesn't go up forever is your skill level to match your gear. But what you could do with what's already in your pocket that you didn't even go out of your way to you accidentally bought one of the dopest content creation tools ever because you just needed to like text people and watch YouTube and stuff. Like you already have it. You already have everything that you need. And to the point, and this is what I've talked with Melina a little bit too, is if you want to make a big change and you're like wanting to make content, you want to go full time and you're currently part-time, you better bring your audience along for that journey because that's an epic ass quest. Why would you cut them out of that? Why would you just not do like the sequel, like the middle movie? Like don't leave that out. Let them know that you're gonna do it, and then get feedback as you go, and like just go on that journey with an audience. Because then, as you're stepping up, as you go full time, as like how stoked were we when we watched Thread Guy and Leap go from wherever the hell not LA to LA, right? Like we're like, oh my god, now they're in LA. Now it's
The journey.
part of the
The
journey.
journey. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So like, yeah, that
Everyone's
big part
fucking
of it.
moving to LA. Can someone explain that to me?
I'm not moving
Luke
to
is
LA.
moving to LA now. I'm just like, do I need to just tell my family, hey, I'm going to LA? Fuck this. Like, that's the one magic.
Yeah, what's
thing.
happening?
Yeah.
Why LA? Who's
They-
there? Why?
They want to be next to me.
I mean,
I don't know
You
why.
want to be next to me?
Last second, they're like, hey, tomorrow I'm gonna do this cool thing far as hell from you. If you're around, you know, you can come by and use your expensive gear to film it. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm not gonna be around. That's far as hell away, but I'll drive.
You did it though. You did it though, which is, you know, Chris was telling me earlier before. He's like, you know, I wasn't sure if I was going to do it, and honestly, kudos to you for just doing it, just getting up and going with it. Because I will say sometimes we do need that push. So kudos, you know, to you for doing it and putting in the reps. And why not?
My wife's like, are they
Extra
paying you?
kudos for-
I'm like, I don't know. I don't think so. I
Yeah,
think
you
I'll
say
make it
yes
worth my time.
immediately. You
That's
say
it.
yes. They're just paying you in a different currency.
That's
called,
right.
It's called attention.
Yeah.
It's an attention economy. That's what they're paying.
They're paying
but
me in
no,
clout, babe. It'll be okay.
Hey, Paul seems to want our attention. Anyways, he's gathered. He's, you know, Paul wants to say something.
Paul's got an Apple Watch.
Paul is punching me in the balls hard right now. So let's go over to Paul. Paul, what's good, man? How we doing?
Jesus.
I knew it. I knew that's what he was gonna do.
Where's Cantor?
Okay,
We can get
goddamn.
that voice. They'll get those two in a room together. Jesus.
Yeah, seriously. But what I really wanted to bring up a little bit was the you triggered me a little bit. Not you triggered somebody in me in the case of what to talk about. That one magic thing. It's constant, right? Like you were saying, like, oh, you have a $4,000 phone, now you need a $3,000 lens, right? I would also argue that it's also a little bit more of like, oh, you have this shiny new desktop. Now you need that fancy new monitor to have a dual.
Now
screen.
you need shelves that glow. Like, no, you don't. That's not gonna make your content better.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that, like, no matter how you spin it, every single person is going to have a different thing that they want to add onto it. Our things may not be the same, right? They might be, but from person to person, on an average basis, there's probably going to be someone different wanting something different to go with the new shiny thing that they just bought. So like, oh well, I'm in this deep. It's time. Maybe it's time for me to upgrade even more now, so I can really, elevate myself. It's like,
well.
No.
Sans, I was going to say, I always compare, putting in the reps to like going to the gym, right? How many times were we sold or told this magic pill, this magic potion would make you lose weight? It's sort of the same thing, right? There is no magic pill. You got to put in the work. You've got to show up, and consistency. I mean, this, Sansa. I mean, what did you used to tell the people you were training? I mean, what's the magic? What's the secret sauce there?
Oh my God. It was constant. I had one guy telling me, I keep gaining weight and I don't know why. And I was like, well, tell me what you eat every day, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. He's like, oh, well, lunch is this thing. And the thing was a literal tub of guacamole. This man took a fucking spoon to a tub of guacamole, finished the whole tub every day for lunch, and didn't understand why which, by the way, for anyone not well versed in nutrition, guacamole is a fat. It's an avocado mushed up. It's a fatty. There's not really a lot of protein. There's like 2 grams of protein for every 12 grams of fat, or give it. Don't go crazy on the number. The point being is that there's a hell of a lot more fat than any carbs or protein. There's no balance in that lunch. And this man was confused why he was up 20 pounds over the course of a fucking month. And I just lost it. But anyway,
He's the reason why avocado toast became a thing. They took his bowl and they brought in toast.
All
It
right.
really is.
All right.
Yeah, anyway, I don't know how I went off on that tangent.
Enough
go ahead.
nutritionalist domination. Listen, I see
Oh, wait. Sorry, Chris,
Come on.
hold on. Sorry.
Come on.
I just remember why I went off on a side tangent.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I command the space. Hurry.
Okay.
You do. I don't know why I'm talking stuff. But just long story short there is that I eventually taught him that balance and consistency was the way, right? It's about protein, fat, and carbs, not just fat. See, Chris, it was worth it. It was
Landed
worth it.
that
I told
plane.
you. I
Let's
got you.
fucking go. You landed that plane. All right. And to the point, yeah, consistency, showing up, making the content, doing it every day. You get better. You can't read about push-ups and get buff. You got to do the push-ups. Okay. I want to talk to my man, Tropic Vibes, and then I'm going to talk to Cesar. And we're just going to keep passing around, and I'm going to keep being slow about it. So, Tropic Vibes, what's up, brother? Thank you for being here, man. Thanks for showing up on camera. And thanks the whole room for being here with their faces. Let's go over to you, man.
Hey, what's up? Honestly, it was just a dare to myself because I've been given every excuse possible not to go on the microphone because, on the camera, I should say. I have no problem going.
That was uncalled for. Universe.
What's
How is this even possible? Okay, he's back.
He's back. Okay, let's go.
Am I back? My bad. I'm in Jamaica, so
let's go.
The internet does its thing. Jamaica just does whatever it wants. Yeah. So I've been given excuses as to why I should be on camera for the longest time. I podcast. I have no problem doing that, and everyone's asking me, why aren't you on YouTube? And I give a million excuses why I haven't been on YouTube. And to be honest, it was just a dare for myself. I'm like, let me just show up on this thing because up to yesterday, I was in a space and someone was just saying, you need to go on YouTube. And I gave the list of excuses. I had no problem jumping into the podcast. I didn't even have an intro for the first 100 episodes. I just did it daily, hopped on the microphone. And I don't know why. I'm not even that afraid of being on camera because during COVID, I did 100 days of live videos just telling high school stories, and that was like the best content I ever put out in my life. But then when it came to putting the podcast in video format, I just got all these excuses. It needs to be professional and all the things that, just all the BS that we tell ourselves. And so, yeah, I just dared myself to show up on this thing. So just want to say,
Cesar said, "You make it real hard to stream."
So hopefully you're actually hearing it. It's not chipping out now.
No, you're good. You're good. He's just trying to make a Jamaica joke. But listen, dude, you're so right. And you actually, like what I failed to say before that I really think needs to hit home for people that are looking for a silver bullet. It's just an excuse. It's literally just a blanket. You're like, if I only had my blanket, my magic blanket that makes me feel safe and warm, like you're not going to be any better at content with that camera. Then how bad are you going to feel? Then not on top of having an excuse, then you're going to have this like guilt. Like, damn, I spent $4,000 on that camera and I still suck. It's okay to suck, but just do it when it's like not got a lot of overhead attached. You know what I mean? Like, don't go invest in a studio and get all the stuff first. Jeez.
You know what I say, Chris? I always say I would much rather suck when only 3 people are watching me than when like millions are watching. So go put in those reps, get 3 people following you, liking your stuff, get better. And just like how the swap, said before, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your first name there. He mentioned someone who he's like, hey, I remember when they were not that popular until they he followed that journey, right? So that sticks with people. So anyways, we lost Jamaica again. He's coming in and out, but yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. I would much rather do it when only 3 people are watching.
I appreciate you, Tropic Vibes, for the patience, for the dare to show up on video, even if all we have is 3 little blue dots left from your handsome face. I'll take it, and I'm sure you'll pop back in.
RIP to the 3 dots. We will remember. No, but what I wanted to do, two things I wanted to attack on here, which is that one, this is why I think AI is going to really help, because as a great supplemental tool, it can help advance your skill set a lot more than as you're learning. You can also learn with the AI in order to expedite that process a little bit more, not to kickstart the whole AI thing all over again. But it just really goes to show that if you use it right and on a daily basis, you can get to where you want to go in the best way possible, and with less mistakes being had, for lack of a better way to say it. And two, also, the first 10 spaces I ever did, first 30 even, I'm just like, thank God that was a small crowd, because that's just like, as much as you might be good at public speaking or anything, social audio plus video, each of them are their own thing that we have to master. Will we be better set up for it as we go? 100%. Absolutely. It's just, like you said, Melina, it's all about the reps and getting them in. So let's throw it over to Benny. He's been really patient.
Oh, Benny.
He's already felt the wrath of all my monologues.
Yeah, I know.
He really is.
Benny,
what's good?
Why do you even hang out with us, Benny? What's up, Benny?
I don't know. I really don't know. I've actually been wondering that lately. That's probably why I haven't been here that often. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So much has been fucking said on this stage since I raised my hand. It's the space of monologuers and flow talkers and storytellers. But I do want to get down to some of the brass tacks. I'll be honest with you. I'm probably not paying for a content creation course. Now that I've thought about it, if I sit here in this space, I'm just not buying one. I do know dumb people who will buy one, but for me personally, it seems like something that, like Sansa said, it's like that workout program that you buy, you swear you're gonna do, spend the $250, and you just end up doing the same workout program that you do all the time because you're comfortable, you know it works, and it makes you feel good. That's what I think about a content creation program. The other thing I was thinking about was voice and style and format. And this is something that me and Chris have talked about before extensively. It's something that I low-key pride myself on, is the ability to have a unique style, format, understand tone, pitch, volume, where words should be placed, where emphasis should be placed, where it should not be placed, when you should talk fast, when you should talk slow. I think that there's something to be said for that, and that's not talked about enough in Twitter Spaces. The very best Twitter Space hosts are the best speakers. They have the best sounding voice. They have the best understanding of form and content. They have the best understanding of pitch and volume. And people are wondering, well, why don't I? And a lot of it is reps. A lot of it is work. But a lot of it is also just natural ability. You know, you can't change your voice. What you can change is the content that your voice puts out and the way in which your voice emphasizes and de-emphasizes certain topics. So those are just some thoughts that I had along the way. A lot of good things were set up here. So definitely don't fade a lot of the good shit I've set up here.
Man, Benny.
I was going to say too, Benny, though, you should know a lot of people actually hire people to learn how to speak, because it actually, you know, you can put in all the reps, but you actually, you can pay for some coaching for that too. Just FYI.
Yep.
No, so I'm a communications major, public speaking. I debate at a high level. I know how much they pay people to teach how to speak.
No, but so we can put in the reps, but if you don't know how to effectively get your message across, I would suggest some training as well.
Melina, have you been playing with your mic knob, your volume? Because she
I went in so hard because I was like, wait, Benny, wait. I just wanted to put that out there because, you know, especially for those who are thinking of being creators, you know, and they're scared to go speak, you can also get training for that. And I will say, Benny, I respect your thoughts on a course, but I do still think that people need guidance. And you know what? You can go get all that stuff on YouTube. You could go spend 1,000 hours on YouTube, and I guarantee you won't do it. You know why? Because you didn't pay.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all I'm going to say.
No, she's right though. It's 100% about curation too. That is a huge thing. Is just like you show up to one person's Twitter space but not the other, and they might be talking about one particular topic and the other person might be talking about that same topic, but it's that person's delivery style and their curation of content that attracts you in. And some people have a teaching style that doesn't work with me, and other people have a teaching style that I can't get enough. And so like I think it's a cool opportunity, and some people are just mad turned off by free content, and vice versa. Some people are like pride themselves on spending the most money.
I'm not even here, like this is not like a pitch. This is not like should we buy, should we not buy. I totally respect Benny. I saw Benny raise his hand again. This is more like, I also want people to know I've spent a lot of money, and I will tell you, even the best coaches I've ever paid, I don't regret it. You
Yeah,
know,
I think access is it. That's
right?
the value.
Right? Like, it's just, I just want people to know that sometimes you do need to put in that work. You need to put in those reps. You need the guidance. Like, we've left school a long time ago, but man, like, I would love to have someone tell me, hey, Melina, this is what you got to do today. This is what you got to do tomorrow. This is what you got to do Friday. So I respect you, Benny. I love you. I just wanted people to know that there is coaching out there for speaking, because you can practice it, but you also need to figure out, the clear messaging and the storytelling aspect. Yeah.
100%.
Okay, I want to hear from Caesar. Sorry, I'm throwing it out there.
Hold on, let me respond.
Whoa, hold on. Benny still got something to say.
Sorry, Benny.
Still got something to say. Let's go over to Benny. Let's put some respect on my boy's name. Go ahead, Benny. What you got?
I want to make my thoughts on a course clear. I wouldn't buy a course.
Right.
A lot of
That's fine.
I didn't make that clear. A lot of people, because I'm agreeing with you. I think coaching is a lot of the problem with the inability for people to speak quality, right? A lot of ego, a lot of pride. People don't want to go say, hey, I actually do need help with this. So I'm in full agreement with you on that. I guess I just get so caught up. Every course that I bought, I could go and find on YouTube for free.
Yep.
And when I went and bought the course, and then when I went on YouTube for free, it just annoyed me. I won't lie to you.
Bro, I used to sell courses and make content about the same shit on YouTube. But people would be like I want the boring. And I'm like, if I make a video boring that teaches you really well, no one's gonna watch it on YouTube. So like, I have to make a video that doesn't teach you as well on YouTube. Otherwise, like, we're not getting anywhere. Then it's all just for nothing. Sansa wants us to smell his armpit.
You're right. That is pretty high. My toxic trait is not going for the free version and paying for it instead, purely knowing I can bother them without feeling bad about it. Yeah. If it's free, I'm going to feel bad about bothering you. If it's not free, which by the way, I personally, there are courses of things that I would buy and courses of things that I wouldn't buy. But so far I haven't really done anything like that. But on just, if we're not talking about just courses, we're just talking about programs in general and whatnot, I'm purely buying for the transactional relationship so that I know, hey, I gave you money for your time, and what I'm actually really paying you for is the ability to be able to say, hey, I don't understand this part. Can you help me elaborate on this a little bit? Like that's how I look at it. And that's not really a counter argument to anything. That's just more of like a little bit of an add-on on the current topic. Okay. I'm not getting in the middle of this between Betty and Melina.
No, there's nothing to get into. There's not. I'm like peace and love. I'm peace and love, y'all.
I got a hack for Benny.
I'm just stirring the pot.
Here's the hack. This is what you do. You join the live stream, and then you comment in the private chat, and you say, I have a pro course comment. Over to you, Tropic Vibes.
Yeah. So, yeah. First of all, I want to say definitely courses I think are a dope thing, because I see the content that you, Chris, and Melina puts out, and it's great. So as far as I'm looking at what you guys are doing, I already know that you can do what I'm trying to do or try to accomplish. But I compare everything. The baseline I use literally for everything, because I'm one of those dudes that buys like 3 or 4 courses a year for like different things, is I compare it with what I paid for college in 2008 was $800 per credit. And this is 2008 I got out, right? And my folks and everybody wanted me to go get my master's and everything. I was like, dude, I learned more on YouTube and from other people that I've learned in Facebook groups than I've learned in college. So I was like, instead of spending money on my master's, I'm just going to go out and do stuff, and I'm going to buy all these online courses and stuff. And over time, I have learned way more than I believe personally than I would have learned anywhere else from people that already do it. Because most of the professors and stuff, whatever, they just teach it, never done it. But you guys already do it. So I wouldn't say, I think courses are dope or whatever. And I'm just one of those dudes that I'm 100% pro course. So what you guys are doing, I think is great, because I really like what you guys do. So
I like both. I like courses. I think access is the big one. And I've got a lot of courses that had no access. Those were the worst. And it doesn't matter. I was the one that would actually use them and put the time through. I took a Casey Neistat course last year. Guess how much time I hung out with Casey? Yeah, not ever. Of course, I spent 0 time. But it was great, and it was from him, and it was curated by the guy. So like I appreciate it. This is what I want to do. First off, I want to say if my guy Cesar dressed up like a pirate, he'd kind of look like Johnny Depp. A little bit.
Yo, the look on his face when you said that, he was like, "What the fuck?"
I've never gotten that.
I don't see it.
I don't know. I saw Jack Sparrow for a minute just staring at me, be like, "You motherfucker, you still not calling him what he did." Okay.
Oh, that's so funny.
Get
Can
it
you guys
out.
hear me okay?
Yeah, man, you sound good.
Good. Yeah. Awesome. Wow. I'm glad I was able to catch you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's been a couple times when I wanted to come up here with you guys, but I just haven't been at the right place, right time. I do have a pro course comment, and then I think I can segue into the rest of what I wanted to say. But I've always found that information has the same cost. It's just either a time cost or it's a monetary cost. So you get to decide how you get there. Usually when you pay with money, you can get there quicker, right? Because it's curated. So it's not that things cost less or are free or are paid for. It's just how fast do you want to move the needle. I've done a lot of consulting and advising in the past, and usually when talking to a client, you get to the point where, like, once you know their goals or you know what they want to accomplish, you ask them, okay, and typically this is in a scenario when there's not alignment between what they want to achieve and what they're willing to put in to get there, right? And so you ask, well, look, you can absolutely get there, but there's got to be a compromise. So either you're gonna have to spend a little bit more money, or you're gonna have to extend that timeline a little bit further, right? Or you're gonna have to put in a little bit more time. So you just got to think of it as all of those are variables. It just depends how you want to get there. Do you want to spend the hours and hours and hours going through all of the free content, and some of it might be worthless? You might spend an hour watching a video just to realize that there's nothing in there of value for you. Or you can pay for the course that you know exactly what you're getting, because there's a curriculum, there's notes, there's all of that. So, and the other part of that is usually when people get to the point when they buy from someone, there's already been enough free value provided that it's built that rapport and that trust that got them to make a purchasing decision. People don't buy when you just randomly search for someone, you find it, oh, I'm going to buy this course. You usually think about this, right? When you buy someone's course or you buy something from someone, you spend a few hours, if not days, maybe weeks, learning who that person is and consuming their free content before you ever get to the point where you're like, I'm going to pay them because what I've received from them for free is so valuable already that I know that if I pay, I'm going to shortcut that time, right? So that is a component that I always kind of try and keep in mind is there is no such thing as really free or paid. Like, that's not how you got to look at it. It's just how quickly do you want to get there? And it just depends where you're at in your life, right? That's the biggest factor. Can you afford to pay it, or can you afford to put in all that time? If you're a business professional, you might not have the time, but you got the money. So
That's true.
and then as far as the speaking comment about like the voice coach, the other thing is I have been very aware of the fact that speaking is something that you can improve. And there are people that can teach you how to do that better than what you currently do. Because it's an instrument at the end of the day, right? And I think the more you use it, the better you get at it. But if someone can make that process a little bit faster, going back to the paid thing, if somebody could shortcut that for you, if it's important to you, why wouldn't you do it? If it's not important to you, then you shouldn't. Use that money somewhere else. What else can move the needle forward for you faster, right? So that's how I typically look at it. So I don't do a whole lot of content, Chris, and you know this. And I've got all the equipment, dude. Same thing. Like, I've got the nice camera, all that crap. But I've done a lot of things in the past, and I've had a bunch of different business. So I've kind of accumulated the stuff over the years to be able to do it. But it's not my main business. And you're absolutely right. Like, we all have content that we're playing out and living out. We're just not recording it, and we're not using it for anything. We're not building a business out of it. And I think you just have to decide if that's something that you want to do. Like you guys said, you just go after it, right? It's everything's a risk in life, and it's like Monopoly. If you don't take the risk, you end up paying the rent to the guy that did. So it's kind of up to you, right?
That's right. And a lot of people too, it's almost like it's not so far off from the traditional path that a lot of us were brought up believing, that like you have to go to school so that you can get good grades, so that you can go to the next school. And then if you do good there, you get to go to the next school. And then eventually, after all of this effort and all this time and all of this thinking that you're going to enjoy something, then you get a piece of paper and you don't even know if you're going to enjoy doing that thing yet. You have no idea. But like you're so guilted into doing it that you're either going to stick with it and hate what you do for a long time and make money, or you're not even going to use the damn thing that you just invested the majority of your life so far to achieve, all to make somebody else happy. And to that, Gary Vee would say, fuck your grandma. But I think I get it. And I think to Tropic Vibes' point is I want to spend money every year on a course. Every single year of my life. I tell my kids, you know who doesn't want to learn stuff? Poor people. And I don't mean it's because, oh, they don't have means. It's because they're looking at it like learning sucks. And I'm like, dude, you're going to learn a lot of lessons. You're going to learn that it's very, very time consuming and a lot of work to be broke. It's so hard it's way harder to be broke. It takes so much damn effort. Like you have to like do things so slow and wait in all the lines. And I've had to do, I did food stamps and all this stuff. Like I have absolutely put my dreams saying like I have to go after this. I don't care what it takes. I don't care if I gotta like learn the hard lessons and get kicked in the nuts financially a bunch and like go humble myself and wait in long lines. Like it's hard to be broke. But at the same token, you're either gonna build your dream or somebody else's. So I mean, I think it's 100%. And it's almost like you don't learn that much when everything works the first try. It's kind of great to get, like to have to go through it because this is our life. Like you don't, there's not round two, not in my belief system, and yours, whatever, be a butterfly or whatever. But I'm just saying, in this life, me being Chris, I only got one shot at it, and like I enjoy the ups and downs. So, maybe that's not for you to tie a little bow on this. Like, maybe being a lawyer is not for you after all that school. Maybe you get all the content stuff and you got the lights and you got the camera, and you do all that, and you're like, you know what, dude, I am stressed the fuck out. I don't like chasing these jobs, the ups and the downs. I really would be mentally in a way better place in life if I had something that's stable. For me, I would suffocate to death and freak out. I would freak out if I knew what next week was going to look like for the rest of my life. But for a lot of people, they would freak out not knowing. And like I give that respect. I don't think that this is for everybody. It's a little bit glamorized massively by society that like you should be a cowboy and have no plan and just go out there and make it work and go through the mud. Like you don't have to. There's a whole world out there that's ready for you if you just want the safety and the security. Well, I don't know about the safety, but there's always going to be a job for you. Okay, this is what I want to do. One of my favorite people ever has had his hand up forever. Comfort has an amazing voice. He speaks in poetry, no pressure. It make me look good. Just definitely listen to this, man. If you don't follow Comfort, you're gonna have to, because the guy's just got wisdom for days, and I love his takes every time. Comfort, what's up, brother? Thanks for being so patient the whole time.
Yeah, no worries, man. I just got out of work and was able to hang out and catch some things earlier than normal, and I heard y'all in here chopping it up, talking about the process and being in love with that process and how practice makes permanence and all that good jazz. Without those essential roadblocks and those fundamental failures, when you were playing t-ball, learning how to kick a soccer ball, you definitely missed a couple of times. And it's so important that we kind of tinker and laugh at those mistakes. Right now, as I messaged with you earlier today, Chris, we were tinkering with StreamYard and just being like kids in a candy store, like, oh my God, you can stream to your timeline this way or that way, or hold on, you can add this video layer here. And Ozzy's, doing all of his wizardry stuff on his end. And it's funny just to see the team working in that space versus us just kind of trying to do it all alone in the Twitterverse. And just having those different layers of interaction only deepens the resolve of what can be generated when we kind of cooperate and collaborate and work creatively together for whatever means. If it's not just to spar with one another in these mental dojos, then so be it. So long as we come out better than we were yesterday.
That's right, man. And you know what? That to the point of the speaking and learning to speak better and doing all the things. What a cool world that we live in, that we get to just practice in front of a bunch of people in public speak and then learn from other people that are also doing the same thing. Like there are peers. We're all peers, you know what I mean? And like we're talking to people from around the planet. That's so dope. Like we're all connected, and a lot of times people like give the whole like metaverse thing like a really hard time. And oh, what metaverse have you ever been in? I'm in one right now. I don't know about you, but like I'm talking to people around the planet. I'm looking at their faces. Half the time I'm barely paying attention to the thing in front of me because I'm in my ear listening on earbuds while I'm barbecuing or mowing the lawn or whatever. I'm not mowing the lawn. I'm having a dope conversation and learning and like vibing with other people and kind of soaking in their wisdom. The whole, you know, you're the like accumulation of the people that you're around. Like that, it's so cool that we get to be doing this stuff. But I'm pumped on the visual layer of it too, because there are some people that are so dialed and they're so calculated with just like the way that they speak, the way that they move, all of that, and you miss all of that when that's just on Twitter Spaces. And then you see somebody in person,
Yep.
and you're like, damn, this person is like, they're a force. You know what I mean? And you get to kind of see how they interact. And I love that we at least get a preview of that with the whole live video thing. So
Oh yeah, dude.
yeah, man, it's the
It's a
best.
journey as well, man. It's so a journey. Just getting used to like the setup, your like you said, your hand movements and whatnot. To tease it instead of getting on camera, I instead just like put the camera toward the keyboard and was just teasing out different angles. And so the first evolution of the journey, I just called it only hands because it's just my hands typing as I'm editing.
Hey,
You know,
yo.
and the next leg of the journey, and the next leg of the journey will be like an AR filter, and then the final leg of the journey will be just me having the camera pointed on myself, pointed on Ozzy, pointed on Yamaza, yada yada.
I love it.
But I mean, you get to reimagine the world and then streamline it right through the optic nerve in real time. I mean, ripping open technosocial wormholes like it's our, you know, like we're a butterfly. We're just having at it. We're like, oh, what are you doing? Bloop. I'm in your world. Bloop. I'm in your world. Hello, person. You know, across the world, time and space, rendered irrelevant.
That's right. That's my man Comfort, everybody. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for always hanging out. You always support. You show up. I did a lot of these spaces, kind of all by myself, a little bit. Kind of all by myself, a little bit. Early on, as I was figuring out how to tie in spaces and live streaming and video and all that stuff, and it was weird. Nobody was doing it, so nobody wanted to show up, and I kept showing up. I was doing them every day. Yeesh. That was a great way to learn. Not a good way to feel good about yourself, showing up by yourself every day for a while. So having said that, yes, reps are dope. Not always the funnest. They certainly don't feel the coolest. I'll say that, but I absolutely enjoy where it led me. So I wanted to go over. I think Metamona has come up so many times, and I never even we sometimes people don't want to come up and raise their hand. She has her hand raised right now, but I should go to her anyway, even without her hand raised. I saw videos of her when I was at the 3XP, and I sent her the DM. I was like, I see you. I see you out there. How are you, my friend?
Thank you. Thank you, Chris, so much for having me. I was not even aware you guys had this spaces, and it's definitely a pleasure to come here and talk to you guys. I don't know. What do you want me to share insight on? I am a broadcast journalist. I was a former news reporter and producer here at a local news station called West 2 News in Florida. And so I'm just listening to you guys, and it's so, it just takes me back to when I was in broadcasting school. And, you know, when I listen to you guys, I see this in three parts, right? The first part, I just want to remind you guys that what everybody's talking about here is a skill, right? Everything that you guys are talking about is a skill. And a skill takes a long time to learn before you even decide which direction you're going to go with the business side of it. You have to get really, really, really good at this skill. And the skill is, your on-camera skill that you guys are talking about, your speaking skills. But you can do all of that and it all changes right away, right? When you get on camera. I've had people who speak for, professionally, and, they're great speakers, but then the moment they get on camera, they freeze, right? And I've taken acting classes. I wanted to come out of my shell. I've taken speech classes. And frankly, what they all do is they do something that's really cringing. They make you listen to yourself and they make you look at yourself on camera, right? So the first thing you can do, honestly, and save you money is listen to yourself, record yourself. It's so cringing at first, but I promise you, if you keep doing that, you'll see what your troubled areas are, and you'll work on that. Record yourself, put yourself on camera, and get a teleprompter. Put it on a tripod. Learn how to read a teleprompter, and just watch yourself. And that's what they really do in these classes. So here, I'm going to save you probably thousands of dollars by telling you can do this yourself. But it takes time. So when I think I heard somebody said 3 months, I'm going to tell you that it's going to take a year, at least a year, for you to really become confident in your camera delivery and in your audio delivery. Once you do that, I left news. I remember the day I sat in front of my news director and I said, um, thank you for teaching me storytelling, but I'm going to go do this on my own. And she looked at me like, okay, what? Good luck. What do you mean? You're going to go on YouTube? What are you going to do? And I just, news taught me storytelling, and it helped me just perfect my skills, on camera skills and voice delivery. But I just couldn't be creative with news. News is, as you guys know, is very controlled. My writing had to go through 5 different hands to be aired. So I decided to come do this on my own. So when I came to this side, I took a look at the landscape, and we have a lot of great influencers. I knew right away I'm not an influencer. I am a journalist. I am a storyteller. And so when I hear people wanting to find their place here, I do want to say that you really have to think about what makes you unique, right? Because you have to stand out. Even if you are wanting to be a Twitter host, what makes you as a Twitter host unique? Can you structure a show? Can you keep it concise, right? Can you effectively moderate? And more importantly, when you look at, who are you doing the Twitter spaces for? Are you doing it for a brand? Is not just about the show. The show is the harvest, right? The show is the harvest of your days and hours of your hard work. It's a lot of research that you have to give to that client. If I am that client and I hire you and I say, hey, I'm going to give you a retainer of $1,000 a month, and I want you to do 10 hours a month Twitter spaces for me, it's not just about going on Twitter and getting a bunch of people and talking, right? I have to bring ROI to that client. I have to know who is their audience. Are they white? Are they Black? Are they Hispanic? Are they Asian? How old are they? Where are they from? What do they like to listen to? It's going nowadays, it goes way beyond just performance. It's really about, if you want to make money, it's really about how are you unique, first of all, and what value you're bringing, not just to the audience, but the person that is going to give you that cash flow. The other thing I want to say is, my channel, what it became my portfolio, to be honest. I just started the channel. I just started doing news clips on crypto and metaverse and Web3, and it really became a portfolio of mine, because brands like Star Atlas or Gala or Colonize Mars, they reached out to me. They said, okay, hold on a second. You understand what we're talking about, and you understand the mainstream, and you can speak this on camera, and you can do it professionally. Okay, we want to work with you.
It's like being bilingual, huh? Like you speak 2 languages and they're like, oh shit, most people only speak one or the other. That's it.
Well, they actually don't know that about me, and it's
I just
funny
mean like
because
the Web3 language, not
oh,
actually two different
absolutely, oh
languages. Like,
yes,
but like
Yeah,
it's
like alpha means information. It's like just
yeah,
fucking
it's a
say
separate
information.
language, right? For sure. But continue, my bad.
yeah, no, absolutely, because we listen. They can go to a lot of the influencers, and there's some influencers that do an amazing job, and they're very informative, right? But if you want to work for a brand, at the end of the day, is about bringing value to that brand, right? And you have to be able to facilitate information and what that brand is building via Discord, Twitter Spaces, YouTube channels, whatever the platform is, to the mainstream audience. And you have to do that effectively. That's one side of it, right? That's one aspect of it. The second aspect is, do you want to be an influencer? If you want to be an influencer and you just want to sit in your living room and give people valuable information, that's fantastic. That's just going to take a very, 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 very long time, right? And you have to think about your sponsorship strategy, right? That the only way that you're going to make money there is one sponsorship strategy. But I also want to open up another door here. If you want to take that route, I want to encourage you to ask yourself, well, I want to tell you this. That channel is not your product. That channel is for you to lure people in with your uniqueness, with your information, with your willingness to provide free, valuable information so that you can then sell your product. So ask yourself at the end of the day, it's not about that channel and what you're giving to people. It's about what product are you selling? And you might say, well, I'm not here to sell, but you are because you want to make money, right? Yep. I read an amazing book, Cash Flow Quadrant. I don't know if anybody has read
I got
that.
it on the
Cash
shelf
flow.
right behind me.
Have you read it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great book.
It's amazing.
Kiyosaki.
It's an amazing.
I was really hoping you were going to say no, and I was just going to burst out laughing.
Because cash flow, Robert Kiyosaki says, if you want to go from the quadrant of self-employed to investor, is not about. Yes, it's about skills, but more importantly, is about your mindset. The jump from that quadrant, the self-employed quadrant, to businesswoman, businessman quadrant is your mindset, right? So yes, you can give away everything that you want to give away and make people love you. But at the end of the day, number one, you have to have a product that's a reoccurring subscription revenue for you. You have to have that.
That's actually me and
Right?
Melina's main differentiator when we're having these, content creation spaces is it's always based on have that core component in the middle that's business. I do want to say just for a second, because I don't want to cut you off, but I do want to continue that conversation and dive more into the business side and the product side and the fact that we're always selling. But Melina's got to go. So
I know.
want to have a second too.
I just want to say, Mona, it's so great to meet you. I'm also a fellow broadcast reporter that's left. I'd love to maybe perhaps get you back next week, right? And we can talk about.
Absolutely. I would love to. Absolutely.
I'm sorry I gotta go. But this was so insightful. Thank you for all the wise words and wisdom, because you're right. Everything you said there by listening to yourself. I remember my first days on radio, hated listening to myself, but you have to listen to yourself. That's how you get better. So I just want to say thank you so much. I'm going to listen from far away, but I'm leaving the stream now. So bye, guys. Thank you. Thank you all
Melina.
for showing up and
Appreciate
showing
you.
your faces.
Yeah, Melina's the best. She shows up and makes sure that if I'm going to be talking, at least I won't be by myself on these streams. She's always showing up. The best. Normally she'll just eat with the camera off in the background, but I think we're going to let her off the hook this time. So, and honestly, it would be so cool to hear you two just chop it up and compare notes and talk. I think that's going to be one of those spaces where I do a lot less of my typical yapping, and I just get to listen and learn and that because I don't have any of the traditional stuff. I'm the I don't know. I freak traditional people out big time. And so
we love you. We there has to be a balance of we love you and we need you.
I appreciate that. But you were saying though that the idea of having a product like you always have something that you're selling, and if you don't have something that's gonna keep the lights on, like it's not sustainable. It's the whole thing about who do you help in an airplane? Like you go dive in and put masks on everybody while you're suffocating to death? No, of course not. Like you can't keep going if you don't have the sustainability to to stay in for another day. Kind of like this Web3 space. There's a great strategy for how to win here. Just don't die. Just stay in it. If you don't die, you might get this hockey stick opportunity at any point. You never know what DM's going to come in and be like, holy shit, this big thing's about to go down. So I think just making sure that we can sustain a product of some sort, something that, whether that's a service that you sell to somebody else that's needed in the space, like there's so many things that can keep us alive here. So a lot of people have never thought that they actually have a product or a service that all their other content is just the bait for. It's just leading people to that. So killer point.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, Ad leaks of Web 2 is a great example of that. They lure you in with free content, which is very valuable, very informative content. But then then they introduce their $50 to $200 product on the middle end, which then they're teaching you. They're teaching you about advertising, Web2 advertising, affiliate programs, and then they have a back end product which goes up to $1,000. But again, and we can go down some rabbit holes here with these types of strategies, but all of this to say that yes, we're all creatives, and trust me when I say that as a creator and a storyteller, if I just wanted to think about algorithm, that's the end of my journey. I'm not just here for the algorithm. I am a creative and I want to touch people very deeply. And you can do that. But at the end of the day, if you want to put food on your table, you have to think about what you're selling. You have to think about your sponsorship strategies. And then if you want to even go further, then you have to ask yourself, how can you sell your infrastructure for cash? Because at the end of the day, just like cash flow quadrant talks about, it's about creating a system that you can turn around and sell, right? Paul Barron is a good example of that. Paul Barron has the Paul Barron network, but Paul Barron is selling data on the back end. And that's his model. And then he's going to turn around and sell the entire network. So again, it's a big conversation to have, but I just wanted to share some insight here. And these are some of the things I myself am still learning too. Right. As I decided to take the journey to do this all on my own, and everyone looked at me like, you're absolutely insane. And yes, we are insane. We're all insane in Web3. But this is more exciting than, trust me, traditional West2 news.
So true, so true.
Yeah.
And for all the times that I didn't get to hear you speak, and we had you in the room, I feel dumb now because all that wisdom was just fire hosing
You
out.
should.
Look at Sansa. He's gonna tell me I'm dumb. Go ahead. Go ahead. Say it.
No, you're not dumb. You're not dumb. You should just feel bad. Just feel bad, and then sit in that for a little bit. No, but in all seriousness, first of all, it's awesome to meet you, Mona. What you're saying is exactly everything that when I started my Twitter Spaces, it initially started off as a series, and then I saw there was a little bit of a demand for the structure that I had brought to the table, right? Which was like sort of a mix of a podcast type vibe, but also still keeping that Web3 native culture that kind of got Spaces a little bit more popular on our side of Twitter a little bit. And that's when, the perspective needed to shift a little bit. Because all of a sudden now I have a sponsor reaching out to me. Hey, we see that you're really consistent. You're showing up every weekday, et cetera, et cetera. And you're like, wait a minute. Hold on. This is a business. This isn't just a Spaces. This isn't just a show. This is And then that's when, with the moment I realized that is when I actually got an LLC set up behind it, because now it's something that you can really create an infrastructure that, like you're saying, you can turn around and sell for anyone who's possibly interested. And the point that I'm arriving at here is that you can do that with anything. It's just a matter of how you visualize the vision of what it is that you're doing, whether it's Twitter Spaces, whether it's some Spotify podcast, whether it's a LinkedIn Spaces, YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. It's just, there's so many different ways to do it. And I know what I'm saying is a little bit more podcast niche vibe, but that's just how I relate to it right now. I'm literally, Chris knows, I'm literally breathing and sleeping my show,
co-hosting
to the point where
everywhere, on the internet, every day.
I've literally texted this man at midnight, like, hey, like, let's try to do this week, and he'd be like, okay, but point being is that it's really all about what you, the person, see it as, and not so much worrying about, again, back to what Mona's saying, worrying about, is this destructive enough? Am I reinventing the wheel? Am I, doing something here that's going to matter? Like,
are you being violent enough? Are you yelling loud enough? Because the piece of content I cut from his yesterday's news report was fantastic.
Oh my God.
So much yelling. It was good.
It was so bad. At the same time, when I finished that report, by the way, I was embarrassed. And then everyone was like, we love it. We love it. And I was like, fuck you guys, man. Like, like, fuck you guys. Like, why? I show up for 90 minutes every day, run the show for 90 solid quality minutes. And this is what you settle on? This? Really? Anyway.
And then we did another 2-hour live stream after. Me and this guy just can't get enough of each other. We're live streaming, I don't know, hooligans. Listen, we're never gonna end the space if me and this guy don't stop talking. So it has been 2 hours and 7 minutes that we've been live so far. I desperately need to hear from Yoda and Genesis and Isaiah that I just now brought up, and nobody else. That's exactly how many other people will be brought up on stage, because we gotta.
I also have a daughter.
Yeah,
I also have a daughter to tuck in. So
we gotta live. And you guys have better things to do than listen to me for all this time. But I love you, and you're all amazing that you showed up so long. So, and actually, there's Yoda on the wall right next to me. So, Yoda, having said that, over to you.
Yo, what's up? Hello, everyone. I just want to say there's been so many things that have been said, and it's just damn, like, having to talk after so many amazing speakers is really terrifying. But yeah, I don't even know what to say, man. I've been listening to this whole podcast, and so many amazing talks, so many amazing topics, and I feel like I've learned a lot today, thanks to, especially to Mona, man. Amazing, like, such a lovely voice as well. I could listen to her for hours on end. And yeah, man, I've been here on Twitter for barely a month, and I've been having so much fun so far. And it's all thanks to the people, the community, and big shout out to Sansa, man. I love your content, always there. And yeah, to be honest, I don't even know what to say.
Oh, you said a lot, man.
For...
That's honestly, keep going. But I just want to say too, like, come up and speak every opportunity that you can. Like, that's what this is all for. Tropic Vibes up here saying that now he's out of excuses. Now he's going to show up on camera all the time too. You're saying you barely know what to say, but you're saying good stuff. Like, this is where it happens. You just do it, right?
And this is also where the confidence in speaking comes back into play. Yoda, I don't know if you were here for that part, but whether you are actually confident or not is a little bit irrelevant. Obviously, it helps, but like, just don't worry so much about what you're saying. Just understand the point that you kind of want to get across. If it's something as simple as giving flowers, or something as complicated as adding a devil's advocate argument, etc. Like
Jonah,
everything in between.
Jonas just says no. I disagree with you about everything. Yeah, it's working well for him. Freaking jerk.
Yeah, if Jonah could do that, Yoda, you could do anything, bro. Trust me.
Oh, I appreciate it. But yeah, man, thanks for the uplifting words. It's nice to hear this. And I'll definitely take the tip of speaking to myself on the microphone and then listen to the audio to feel more comfortable. Yeah, I think I should give the parole to someone else. But yeah, again, thanks for the uplifting words. I'll try to speak more and probably and hopefully in the future with more confidence. And yeah, man,
Yeah.
have a great night.
Yeah. No, Yoda, thank you. Have a great night. I love you, brother. Thank you for your
Appreciate
words. I appreciate you. Let's take it over to Genesis, I believe, was next. Genesis, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Been on this for, well, I haven't been here for 2 hours, Chris has, but I've been here for 90 minutes, close enough. So what about you?
Yay. Well, I love it. I love the energy, and this is really cool. So thank you for doing this space. I got 2 questions. One is, when you all started doing this, and did you have mentors or coaches? If so, what was that experience like? And then the second question I have for you is, if you had to start over, because I'm in a place where I used to do social media a long time ago, and now I'm getting back into it. So it's been a very long time. If you had to start over and do it again, knowing what you know now, what would you do first?
I would say this: you've got a phone, absolutely max that thing out. That you could do so many things with making little content for yourself. I tell a lot of people this too: make videos for you. Don't even share them. It's like journaling. Like literally, just kind of dust off the skills there of sharing with other people and make a note to yourself. I don't care if that's what you're going to get at the grocery store. You could write it out, or you could just make a video and tell yourself what you should be buying and learn how to deliver in ways like that. And that's for somebody who's like absolutely like doesn't share anything, doesn't like the sound of their voice. I had to get really used to the sound of my voice, and that absolutely helped. It sounds so normal for me to hear my voice now because I've made so many videos. But that's one thing, and the other one is just like it is very much like the gym. It seems imposing and big, and I don't even want to use the word scary because that's almost like it's almost like a poke. Like I don't want to make fun of anybody because you feel a certain way. It just feels bigger than it is when you're thinking about like, man, I haven't done this for a while. And the point is just rip the band-aid off. That's always it. Dive right back in. No one will even remember you were gone. If I haven't posted on my main big YouTube channel for a year and a half, if next week I start posting daily videos or weekly videos or monthly videos, people will show up. It won't even matter that I wasn't there. So, the internet's fast. There's so much out there. Like it'd be like saying, what if there was a new TV channel? Like, do we even know how many TV channels there are anymore? Is TV even a thing? It'd be like, oh, there's a new like show on Netflix. Like, would you even notice? No, you wouldn't, because there's so much. So like I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves that we got to show up and have like the next big thing. We don't. Just got to show up. Just show up a bunch of times in a row and it will feel way easier. And as soon as it can become fun for you and like you've dusted it off enough to where it's like, I've done this before. Everything changes super fast in social media. So you don't have to remember all the things that you used to do that used to work because they don't work anymore anyway. So like just dive in. You're kind of in the same boat as almost everybody. It's just they're maybe a little less apprehensive to like hop back in the saddle. So that would be my advice.
Chris,
Yeah.
I'm going to make a move, guys. So it's been a pleasure to be on your space. I'll be in touch, man. Let's get in the DMs because we're doing stuff. It's an exciting time to be alive. Thanks very much, guys.
All right, Dizzy.
Catch you
Dizzy's
later.
advice would be it'd be like a pro basketball player telling you how to be good at basketball. He'd be like, be 7 feet tall. So Dizzy would say, just have an immaculate voice. I don't know if that helps, but that's what he would tell you. I'm just kidding. Dizzy, appreciate you, man.
Take care, man. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Genesis, I do hope that like if you've been doing this stuff before, like again, no pressure because what used to work usually doesn't work anymore anyway. So you're kind of in the same boat as everybody. Everyone's always like 1 or 2 posts away from being like right back in it.
Okay.
Yeah, I do have one thing that I would do different. Just one thing. And this is gonna sound cliche, but I'm a firm believer that if I didn't do everything the way I did, I wouldn't be where I am. So having said that, the only thing that I would change differently is start sooner. The moment that I thought of the idea of what I wanted to do, I should have executed within a couple weeks instead of waiting 3 fucking months to do it. I literally could have done it over the course of a summer instead of starting in the fall. Like that's how much of a big difference we're talking. But again, who knows if anything would have been done differently? But that's just, to me, that's the one thing that I would do differently. Oh, and I would have tried to collaborate more sooner. I feel like so many people are looking at this as a competition, me versus them situation, but like I literally talked to Chris with like, hey, like I know, like is there any way we can work this person in, in some way, shape, and form, as opposed to having it be like an us versus them situation, because collaboration is going to get you way further than an internal competition will. So those are the 2 things that I would do differently. Genesis.
Thank you both. This is super helpful because I'm telling you, when I was doing it before, like the revenue stream that I had was a product stuff that I was doing. This is a completely different world, but I hear both of you. So yeah, this is good. Thank you.
You're welcome. And you could do it. I totally hopped into this Web3 space. Has nothing to do with what I was doing before, including the fact that I was like the only guy who didn't want to be represented by a monkey on the Bird app. So I've always been kind of doing something different than everybody else. Anyway, I do want to pop it over to Isaiah. We'll go back to Yoda, and then we're gonna get some last words from our friends on stage here. And Sansa's gonna go be a dad and a husband. I'm gonna just keep working till the end of the day because I'm a psychopath. Okay, over to you, Isaiah.
I also have a stream in 40 minutes that I forgot about. So it's gonna be 15 minutes of tucking my daughter in and back to work.
Right.
Isaiah, what's good, brother?
Yo, is that Sansa? Yo, I'm a big fan, bro. Can I have an autograph?
Hey.
Yo,
I don't do autographs. I can only do, if you give me an NFT, I'll take that and then I'll tweet about it. That's the closest thing we get to an autograph.
Jeez, the bar is hot. Yo, Chris, you just look like a trustable guy. Like I look at your profile picture, I'm like, man, I could trust this guy, man.
Yeah.
Like, you made me
People
feel
think I'm nice. I'm
comfortable
not.
coming
I'm
up
actually
stage.
not even a nice guy. It's a true story.
Well, it's your
But I'm
picture. It's
fooling
your,
all of
first
you
impression,
right
bro.
now.
First impression. First impression. Like I just wanted to be the part of the conversation. That's why I just came up and I was like, Chris is the guy to come up to.
Let's go.
I don't know.
All right, I'll
But
take it, Isaiah.
I actually tried to come in the stage to be funny, but y'all was spitting some facts. So now I don't feel like that's appropriate to be funny. But it's funny, Chris, what you was talking about, because I was on the stage with K Money and he was saying the exact same thing. Like people try to play the algorithm and they try to do growth packs and stuff like that instead of just creating quality content. And people's gonna show up to it if the content is good. Like you don't need to be on top of it every day. Because the question I think it was, oh, do you need to show up every day to make it on Twitter? And he was like, I don't show up for 4 days, I don't show up for a week. But when I come back, it's a high quality content and people always show up to watch it.
Yep.
So that was just something that you were saying that I agree with. And Sansa also, I'm basically recapping for y'all. And Sansa also basically saying that if you have an idea or you have something you want to do, go for it. Don't overthink about it. Don't delay it, because you could go much far if you just implement it right there and then.
That's
So
right.
I appreciate those tips, guys.
That's right. And you know what? I heard TG was doing this interview with Jeff Staple the other day. And one of the biggest things he said is like, don't try to do everything yourself. That's the mistake. Like, don't get help. Get help. And sometimes that means collaborate with other people. Sometimes that means hire people. Sometimes it means just like reaching out to somebody who's done the thing that you're trying to do. I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of content creators have it's a lonely road anyway. Like, let's not sugarcoat it. Like, this can be crazy lonely. Like, because you don't really have coworkers. If you do what I do full time, like I sit in my garage, like it looks all, everyone's like, oh, your shelves or something. I'm like, yeah, that's my garage. It's my garage. I just built a little cute room in my garage. And I had to put in like a HVAC, the mini split. So when it's cold as hell outside, I'm not sitting out here freezing. I used to sit in a sad little garage and freeze every day and make videos. Or it'd be so damn hot that I'd have to record and I'd turn off all the fans. I'd have like 30 seconds before sweat would start dripping down my face while I'm trying to make YouTube videos because it was so damn uncomfortable and hot in this garage. Now it's comfy, and I worked for it for 10 years. So I don't feel I like my little garage, but I'm just saying, like, it can be a very isolated, lonely thing. And so the better that you reach out and work and collaborate with other people, then the faster you learn, the more comfy you get, and the cooler the networking opportunities can become because there's such an abundance of opportunity, especially in this space. I just feel like, man, if you're just keeping to yourself, like, you're doing it wrong. That's making it
Yeah.
way harder for sure.
Chris, let me ask you a question. All right, so there's days that you're killing it, your momentum is high, it's like an avalanche, like it's growing, everything's going your way.
Yep.
And you have those days where it's like it's not going your way, and you feel very unmotivated. And then you got outside factors like real life that's affecting your mood and your your decision making and your all of that. Like, what you do on those times to keep it going?
So I heard some really good advice. Says, don't make big decisions when you're hungry, when you're tired, when you're intoxicated, or I think like when you really, I think it's, did I say tired or sad? That's one of them. There's some shit you shouldn't do. Listen to this. Don't be emotional about everything. Like, if you're being emotional, go to bed. Wake up the next day, think it over. Don't make some big pull the plug moves. That's dumb. I know a lot of people get mad emotional, a lot of grown ass men. And listen, I could use some emotion. 100%. I do not look down on that in the least. I do think people make dumbass decisions when they're being emotional. And like, listen, I go high to low like by the hour sometimes. I finished my day yesterday, got I did not see it coming, a very sideways ass message, and was like, whoa, I didn't think that that would happen, that person would do that. And it was this completely took my mood and my thought process and like where, my heart basically, and just pulled it in a different direction. And like, I think being reactionary is a very easy pitfall to screw up your your hard work. You know what I mean? Like if somebody throws you a super hardcore curveball, I'd say not being reactionary, not acting on emotion right off the bat. Like think it through, sleep on it. If you're feeling really convicted, definitely sleep on it. But you know what you should do first? Eat something. Damn, like how easy is that? Go have a sandwich, maybe a nap in a sandwich. That might change it. That might keep you from blowing up your life. Go have a nap and a sandwich, think it over. And then if you feel the same way, like, listen, don't let people walk all over you either. Sometimes you got to punch them in the face. But we're not going to be violent. That's Sansa's thing, not mine. I want to throw it back to Yoda. And then I think we're going to wrap it up here. I got a little violent there. Yoda, back to you.
So, hey, what's up again? I just want to come back to one point that was mentioned early in the conversation about learning. And I want to point out that since everybody's different and everybody has different mindset, especially concerning the paid courses and the free content, I found that the most important thing is about the mindset. I'm a bit like Sansa. I have difficulties to study when stuff is for free because there's no risk in it for me. So when there's an incentive, like money, like losing money, in effect, if I don't use this information, I won't use the money I just spent on the course. And I think depending on the person you are and what motivates you to get your goals done, there's no right answer. So everybody has to figure it out for themselves and find out what works best for them, even though it's fucking generic. It's just what I wanted to add to that learning aspect. So thank you for having me, and I wish everybody a good night. It's getting really late here in Paris. It's almost 1:30, and I'm gonna go head to sleep. But it's been amazing to be on the space, and I'll definitely try to come back and add more value, hopefully.
Hey,
Yeah.
Yoda, I got to tell you something. You told me once, the do or do not. There is no try. Don't try to come back. Just do it. Okay. Sansa, I know you wanted to say something. Sansa doesn't.
No. For once, I was very comfortable just listening.
I messed it up.
And just because you know what it is. You know what it is. But what I also wish I would have learned how to done sooner
I wish I would have learned how to properly shut the fuck up or how to properly be much more concise sooner than later. But it's okay. We're learning now.
That's okay.
And that's all I have to say. That's
All
it.
right. That's okay. So we're gonna rotate the big stage here. Tropic vibes. Parting thoughts. You said you're showing up on video more often. I'm gonna hold you to it. Send you some invites. Bring you on some live streams. How you feeling?
It sounds good. Yeah, it was honestly, it's just starting is the hard thing. Just like, we've said many times, getting in the gym. And the one thing that I would change when I first started with podcasting, this is actually my start for getting on the video. And it's the same thing. Is I just wish I did it before, just like Sanda had just said. And when I started podcasting, I had not say I have a great voice now, still have a horrible voice, but I mean I hated listening to myself and just editing. And the one thing that everyone's gonna find is that you sound a lot different to yourself. That the voice that you hear in your head as it's bouncing around in your skull is completely different than what you hear on your voicemail or what you hear on a podcast in a Twitter space or whatever. And you think something's off and you think it's absolutely horrible, but it's just in your head. Well, I guess you would say this time it's not in your head. It's just how it sounds outside of your head as opposed to being in your head. And I mean, everyone, even the people I know with the most beautiful voice are like, is that how I sound? And trust me, it's like, it's just natural. And I still am a little shocked by when I hear my own voice played back. I'm just like, crap, is that how I sound? And my wife and everybody saying, no, you sound good. It's in your head. So that's all I would say.
I love it, man. I appreciate that big, and it's so true. It's such a common thing that we all think that we sound weird. Cesar, do you think you sound weird? Do you sound like a freaking weirdo?
I love my voice, and I think
Yes,
everyone else
let's
does
go.
too. So
Yeah.
I'm good with that, bro. Yeah. No, my parting thoughts are just if it's important to you, you'll make time. You'll figure it out. You'll go after it. Don't chase perfection. Just get out there and do it. Just do it, man. You'll start attracting the people that want to be a part of your tribe, the people that want to be around you. At the end of the day, that's one of the most powerful things that can move us forward is proximity to the right people. And sometimes that's a mix of people that want to be in proximity to you, but also you being in proximity to other people that you're going to learn from. So just put yourself in a good mix. Don't be the smartest guy in the room. Don't be the dumbest guy in the room. Just keep rotating people through your life.
Sound advice, and your mic is kind of low, so I keep turning you up. Next time.
Okay.
All right. And I've got to go to Isaiah. Then we're going to go to Comfort, and then I'm going to close this out. Isaiah.
Do you have 4 different voices or you're live streaming or something?
No, sometimes listen, sometimes I just feel like I'm gonna throw a different voice on, and I do it all day. Sometimes I sound like a woman. Sometimes I sound like I got this deep Aussie accent. No, I'm just kidding. Everybody's talking through my mic on the live stream. We're live streaming. If you didn't know, for the room, for the space, Sansa refuses to do it. He likes trash audio from Twitter Spaces, so he always uses that. I'll get him trained up one day, and he'll speak. See, normally what we should do is we should have the brand account on the space instead of it be Chris. That would be way less confusing, right? You hear a woman's voice, you hear a dude's voice. You're like, what the fuck is going on? Why is these different voices coming from this logo? But when it's coming from the face of a smiley guy with a hat on, and a purple shirt, who has a purple? You can't buy purple plaid shirts. Yeah, and there's also not a woman's voice normally coming from that. But in this case, there is because we're live streaming. So now it's weird. I love it though. I'm here for it. Comfort, do you have any parting thoughts for us while you're gracing us with your hands and your awesome looking toys and keyboard?
Oh, thank you. Can you hear me well?
I can. Sound good?
Excellent. No, I was just gonna echo the tidings, of being in love with the process, with the hunt, creating the conditions that are conducive to the outcomes that we desire. And that only happens when we're not looking at the scoreboard. And when we're not trying to be something than what our process is trying to make us become. Give me 1 second. There's a bad feedback.
What? Just
in my bloviation.
He says such good things, though. It's worth the wait. It is. The easy way is I just boot you off stage, and then it doesn't eliminate the ability to mute your phone.
Yeah,
That's
right. There we go.
Okay, back to awesome words.
Yeah, no, the echo was going terrible. But what we have is one of the divine opportunities to wield the most disruptive technologies that our species has had the pleasure to hold. And with that, we have the opportunity to ignite the creative wildfire that has been surely missing from our world. You know, the angst, the neuroses, these things I feel are resultant when we strip art and creativity and the process from the world. We only want the instant gratification, and it's heightened by our on-demand economy. You know, you can swizzle the fingers onto the plastic and the metal screen, and then boom, there's the Uber, there's the Eats, there's the Netflix, there's the back. Everything you want has been reduced to a mere thought. And it's so important that we figure out how to wield our thoughts and our belief structures so that we don't continue to meander through these primordial wastelands the way we've haphazardly done so for the last 40 years, at least in my lifetime. And, you know, we have the opportunity to set the sins of the world right and anew so that the future doesn't have to be burdened by those sins, but they can then champion our will and our resolve. So I'll leave that with all of y'all.
You did not let me down, sir. I do believe that's what I thought you would do, and you did it. So I thank you for that. I always enjoy your takes, and I enjoy your takes, Caesar or Cesar. Should I say Caesar or Cesar? Which one do you like? Because it depends who's talking to you. What do you want?
If you can say it more Hispanically,
I just don't
more
do.
pleasing to
Listen,
my
bro,
to my ears.
it's tortilla, right? It's tortilla.
It's not
enchilada.
tortilla.
I'm not saying bullshit. I know I'm Russian. Okay, I'm all kinds of white. It's literally my family's from the Caucasus mountain range. That's where you get the word Caucasian. I'm about as white as you could be. I'm not gonna say tortilla. I'm gonna say tortilla because that's what I eat. That's what I order. Okay, but is it? I'm gonna say Cesar, right? Cesar work.
I love it. I love it.
Okay,
It's perfect.
I'm
man.
just playing.
Yeah.
I'm just being an asshole. Okay, so I want to thank all of you. All right, we're gonna do a little roll call. Huge shout out to my boy Sansa. And Melina always holds it down. She shows up and she's been my co-host on I don't even know how many of these. We have just countless gigabytes of past live streams. Comfort, love you, man. You're the best. Love the voice, love the poetry, man. It just flows right out of you like nothing. Yoda, Genesis, Shotgun, The Swap. We got Meta Rides in the house. Shout out. We got OX Meta Panda. Appreciate you. Cesar again. Tropic Vibes. Thank you for coming up. Jags, again, congrats on the new setup, on just slaying the phone content and stepping up your game. Joe, Portal, King, Sony, Aloha, Glory, Holly. Who we got here? Diana, and something that's hard to say. Let's see. Throt. Okay. Well, whatever. Since I butchered that, give you a follow back. Thank you guys all for listening and hanging out in these spaces. I love them so much. If I don't do these, I literally run dry. These content creator spaces fill me back up. Even when we do lots and lots and lots of live streams in a week, I got to get this one in. It's always the best. So you showing up and supporting is huge. I appreciate you big time. I'm going to chop up some content after this, tag some people in it, get those takes on there. And I do want to see more people show up and do these live streams. So I appreciate everyone who spoke, who showed up on camera, and who just sat and supported and listened. You're the best. Appreciate you guys. No doubt I'll see you in the next Twitter space in like 5 minutes. So have a good night.